up? What up? What up? How we doing? How we doing? One sec. Oh my God. Yo, everybody, Pure Jerky just subbed. That's crazy that you subbed. It's just a funny little joke on me. It's so nice to see you guys, like the consistent names, like the Tuvox. And by the way, Tuvox, I do need to get that emote. I will square that away at some point. It's nice to see Cadmus and Cernu and even Corey in the house. We got the real Corey. How we doing, Corey? Corey in the house. This is the Corey that you all know. This is the Corey that you all love. Every time he joins the chat, he does this. Hang on. Read backwards, stun seed. Every time he's in the chat, he does this. Why do you do this? Thank you, Vasaraka, the Chief Justice of Memberships. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Common Good. Great to see you as well. Famous or infamous? The infamous Corey. Corey in the house. If I had to rank Corey in the house among the pantheon of Disney shows, it would rank quite high. I think it was a good show. Sue me. Sue me. I think that it was a good show. It's not the only one either. You know what else is a good show? Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. Sue me. I liked it. I liked that. I liked That's So Raven. But Corey in the house, that was my jam. Hope you guys are all doing well. We have a little bit of an agenda. The stream will last about 3 hours or so. About 3 hours. And then we'll take a little break. The debate I'm having with this guy, Ryan Mullally, on the Trump immunity decision, that'll be at 8:30 Eastern time. So stay tuned for that. I'll probably start that stream around 8. For those of you guys keeping score. Now that discussion is going to pertain to whether or not Trump versus the United States was rightly decided. And I'm not sure, this will be the first time many of you have seen me debate the specifics of a legal issue with another lawyer. Thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate you. Super appreciate you. And I think it'll be insightful for that reason. And like I said, it's whether or not Trump versus the United States was rightly decided. And in my head, I kind of split it up into different issues, which I think that we're likely to dwell on, including whether or not there's any criminal immunity for the president, and whether or not we can or ought to be able to use evidence of presidential official conduct for a criminal prosecution unrelated to the underlying substantive act, that is the evidence portion of it. And it's with respect to the whatever standard that we uphold as, quote, rightly decided. And I think under any, quote, rightly decided framework, except Trump wins all the time, Trump for the United States was wrongly decided. It was not correctly decided. But certainly under an originalist framework, which I'm happy to undertake for the purposes of the discussion. And really because it's become a kind of a canon or an interpretive philosophy that the court has accepted in recent years, originalism that is. With that framework, I think it's not even a close call. Not even a close decision. But yeah, that'll be happening at 8 o'clock. That stream, the debate to start at 8:30. It's going to be hosted by a really amazing moderator and host, I hope. It'll be the first time that I'm getting moderated and hosted by this individual. Drum roll. You guys ready? 8:30 Eastern. Admiral Gibbs. Admiral Gibbs is host. It's part of Admiral Gibbs Championship Series. Let me see how he branded it to make sure that I'm getting this correctly. I want to make sure I get the branding right. You know me, I'm all about branding. 2 bucks with the meme there. Just 1 second. Make sure I get the actual branding correct. The Debate Championship Series, immunity debate. And it's hosted by Admiral Gibbs. Admiral Gibbs. Lowell Gibbs. Pisco in the AM hits different. This is technically the PM. This is technically the PM. Don't fap on Canada. Timothy Douglas with the no shot. No shot. Yes shot. Yes shot. Gibbs is certainly a choice. It is one of the choices of all time. He is certainly going to be one of the moderators of all time. The new album was really good. What new album? What are you guys talking about? You're not allowed to have conversations that are not topical to the stream. Mr. El Taco Boy says, really, Gibbs? Yes, really, Gibbs. He's going to be the debate moderator. And it's going to be formatted a little bit more formally. 7 minutes opening, 8 to 15 open period, 10 to 15 minute judge question, 15-minute open period, 15-minute judges, 7-minute open, 3-minute closing. I kind of like that. Well, I usually don't like it to be more formal, but I'm okay with having open periods and then judges questions, that kind of thing. But I'll try to be a little bit more hinged, but Ryan he knows how to trigger me. But we have, I think, 3 guest judges. Maybe Gibbs, is he going to be on screen? I don't even know are these judges just going to put questions in the chat maybe? I don't know. Everyone wants to be an up-and-coming debate moderator. Nightingale says it will be a shit show. Who is Admiral Gibbs? Admiral Gibbs is he's an old-timey admiral who is very hinged and a political moderate, I would say. And he's just sort of this older gentleman about it. No, I'm just kidding. He's like a totally unhinged maniac guy, conservative guy. But he's kind of nice behind the scenes. He's kind of nice. The sad part is, the truth is, and that's the truth of it, a lot of these conservatives are pretty nice behind the scenes. I'm just going to say, some of these conservatives, they're pretty nice behind the scenes. Are we going to talk about Arnold starting a war with Newsom? Arnold? Like the Arnold? Like the governor? Let's see what Arnold had to say. Arnold. News of Arnold. He vows to fight redistricting plan. Damn. I'm very much going to be talking all kinds of shit about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Another Mullally debate? Aren't you due to have your quarterly Rob Noor debate? At some point we need to discuss with Rob Noor, don't we? But I don't know what we would talk about. Like, what's the topic going to be? It'll probably just be insurrection again. How fun is that? We'll get into the news pretty soon. We'll be reacting to certain interesting news stories that I think you guys will like. There's some legal stuff I want to mention as well that I think you guys will enjoy. But before I do, any questions from the chat? Any thoughts, concerns? Bowman, Jamal
Always
Bowman.
legal stuff.
Oh my God! What up? What up? What up? How you doing? Join the video.
I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
Figure it out. Figure it the fuck out. And also, if you guys want to like talk some shit, today I am in the mood. I'm in the mood for some shit talking. What about you, Aaron? Wow, you actually did it.
Always in the mood.
Hang on a sec.
I don't know that I'm projecting this. It's gonna look.
You have to mute yourself on. You have to mute yourself on the thing.
On what?
On the app, not on Discord.
Okay, there.
Okay. Perfect. Try talking.
Testing the audio. Trying the audio.
Perfect. It's great. Hang on now. I'm just gonna switch scenes.
You can't turn your camera on Discord?
Why? Do you want me to?
Yeah. Because
No.
I don't think I can project the Riverside thing. I didn't know we were going to use this layout today. I mean, it's fine if you use it, but...
I'm gonna. One second. Boom. Okay, people can see you. Um, you really want me to do this?
Turn on your virtual camera? Yeah.
Yeah. How much do you want it?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. I don't think I can do it. One sec. Oh, I can. Did it work?
Yep.
Okay. Are you gonna be able to project on Riverside?
I am projecting on Riverside, no?
No.
No?
No.
How come on my end I can see myself?
No. I mean, whatever you're sharing.
Wait. Oh, wait. I'm not sharing anything yet.
Okay, cool. But you will, right?
Yes, I will.
Okay, awesome. Well, welcome everybody. Today is Just Press Play Day. We're going to react to some news stories. Aaron, can you tell me what the fuck is going on
With what?
with everything? Why is
You're the one who's linking me Max Blumenthal tweets at the last second, so...
Listen, the only reason...
You're the one with the axe to grind today.
I was going... Stop. I was going to explain the Max Blumenthal thing. And I'm going to give everyone who's watching a little bit of a primer, an introduction on why Max Blumenthal has a bit of a bad reputation before. I just wanted the video. It's for the video. That's why I put the link there.
I'm going to talk shit about Max Blumenthal.
We're not going to talk shit about Max Blumenthal?
I'm asking you. You're the one who who links the tweet.
Why wouldn't we talk shit about Max Blumenthal? What, do you like Max Blumenthal?
Not particularly, no.
You sure about that?
Positive. Okay, let me share on Riverside. Hold on.
Why aren't you a Marxist-Leninist? Are you
I'm not
aware of the
doing that
history
today.
of the Third International? Also known as the Comintern?
Are you aware that you can shut the fuck up about this topic at any moment and not read chats related to Marxist-Leninism just because they pop up? Just checking.
Yeah, I'm aware. Hang on a sec. Let me just click something. Wow, look at this. Look at how amazing this looks, guys. So now we don't have to have... Okay. All right. Let me paint you guys a picture. So imagine that you are a MAGA Epstein... What was the whole philosophy that we talked about before?
Critical pedo theory.
Imagine that you were an actual thinker and believer in critical pedo theory. And you're watching your favorite president, Donald Trump, swear the oath of office. And you get the whole Epstein debacle where they're not releasing everything, where they're acting really sus and weird. And then all of a sudden, you get news out of Nevada that an Israeli intelligence officer of some kind of cyber guy, some kind of cyber intelligence guy.
You're late. I covered this yesterday.
Well, my chat doesn't know anything about this. They don't know anything about this.
Of course not.
Is caught in some kind of... It's kind of not clear, his role in the alleged... What is clear? Tell me about it.
So Media reported it on it, and then The Guardian did. Talking about how this guy... Hold on. Guardian is really... Israeli government official arrested in Nevada in internet crimes against children sting. Tom Alexandrovich was released and returned to Israel after being charged with luring a child for a sex act. So, an Israeli government cybersecurity official who is part of Netanyahu's cabinet was arrested in Nevada as along with several other men as part of a sting. And then he's let out on a $10,000 bail, and then he's back in Israel somehow. The United States is denying involvement in getting this man out, but it's like, how would you be charged with this, but you'd still be allowed, like, not a flight? Like, how could he take a flight back? And then Netanyahu's government says that he was never arrested, which is a lie.
And if you don't mind, can you pull up this tweet from this woman? So there's a woman. Just go to Twitter real quick. Search Siegel Chata.
How do I spell that?
Siiga. Siegel Chata. That's it. Yeah. And go to her account. Yeah.
I don't see an
What
account.
the hell?
No. There's like literally no people for
She deleted her account. Okay. Anyway, so Sigal Chattah is the current like acting U.S.
Chattah.
attorney.
Oh wait. Okay, if I put maybe Chattah for Nevada,
Oh, you missed it. You missed it. So
was it there?
yeah, it was.
Oh wait, here. Oh wait, she did delete it.
Okay, she did delete her account, but she's acting U.S. attorney for Nevada. Yeah, for the District of Nevada. Okay, so she's acting U.S. attorney for the District of Nevada. Now, and she basically has a tweet where it's like, sorry. She has a tweet where she's like, oh my God, this district attorney out of Nevada, they're trying to cover up sex stuff. And why didn't they hold his passport? Why are they doing this? And basically saying the U.S. government has nothing to do with why this guy was let to go back to Israel. Couple things on that. Number one, presumably if it's all a mistake, if it's just a big mistake and we have this great relationship with Israel, they can just send him back, right? I mean,
or we could have him extradited.
yeah, we could. Why couldn't we just have him extradited if it's just such an issue and the government didn't want to do this? So she's like trying to put the blame on the state officials. There's some reporting that the state officials were using and interfacing with the federal government.
The state officials, other than herself, right?
Well, she's a U.S. federal government representative of Trump, so she's a Trump appointee, blaming the state Nevada officials for who.
Yeah, but she's acting U.S. attorney for Nevada,
right.
So she is the state official.
Well, no. She's a federal official. It's a federal office. It's kind of weird. So the U.S. Attorney's Office is for the federal government. The state level people are the people who did the sting, but they interface with the federal government. And so she's blaming the state officials for why this guy's passport wasn't withheld and all that stuff. And there's reporting, though, that the FBI and the DOJ was involved in helping this person get to Israel. Anyway. All accusations.
But they say no. They say no, we didn't do that really, really weird thing.
they say no. These people and Attorney General Pam Bondi and Prakash Patel are trying to pass the buck onto the state officials. The state officials who, by the way, the Department of Justice and specifically this woman, I forgot her name already, was like passing.
Sigal Chattah.
Sigal Chattah was passing the case off to this individual. And off to the state officials. And so presumably they were okay with giving to the state officials then. And then Max Blumenthal, who's a piece of shit, but found this video, this campaign video of Sigal Chattah. And if you wouldn't mind just playing that real quick.
Is she indigenous? Like, what is this last name?
Hey.
I'm asking.
We're going to get to it. We're here to debunk and demystify and fight against conspiracy theories. All right, so this is her video.
It's a conspiracy theory now to ask what her ethnic background is. That's perpetuating conspiracy. I'm trying to clarify things. So this is Sigal Chattah, the acting U.S. attorney who enabled the flight of accused Israeli child sex predator, and cyber spy Tom Alexandrovich, campaigned for Nevada AG by boasting of her Israeli citizenship and pushing crass hatred of Muslims. Her campaign ad was called Israeli Born.
Radical left is burning down our country and attacking Jews in the streets, and Ilhan Omar is fanning the flames. I'm Sigal Chattah, an Israeli-born lawyer running to be America's #1 conservative attorney general. I'll stand up to Ilhan Omar and take her team to court for defunding our police, opening our borders, and teaching our kids to hate each other based on the color of their skin. I need your help. The left is pouring money into the seat so they can put more criminals on the streets. Can you chip in $25 right now? If enough patriots come together, we'll be able to build a grassroots campaign necessary to stop Ilhan Omar in her tracks.
Video.
It's time that we put strong female lawyers like myself forward to make our case.
That was not a question. Thank you.
I think she's running against her.
This is Nevada, by the way.
Yeah, that's like completely unrelated to Ilhan Omar's state.
My name is Sigal Chattah, and I approve this message.
So we're very careful on our show to distinguish and make sure that we're not pushing for debunked conspiracies or any kind of anti-Semitic memes. When Anna Kasparian comes out and says, you know, the dancing Israelis, when she does her little vlog postings, we call it out. We're fair and balanced. But the Trump administration is not making it easy for individuals when they appoint these, what I think are these delusional people, and basically allow for Israeli agents to leave the country and abscond the country and don't give any clarity on it, and then try to pass the buck on Nevada, I don't think they're doing themselves any favors. What do you think?
I don't disagree. I literally, when I read that story, I was like, I thought it was fake. I was like, there is no way that this is not just like some blood libel shit, truly. Like, actually, because it sounds like a B movie script for like a plot. Like, yeah, after Trump's coming under all of this fire for being too Israel first, not America first, for just giving Bibi whatever he wants, for contributing to this genocide. Then on top of it all, and not releasing the Epstein files. Then in a stunning PR move, the Trump administration turns around and gets involved with helping secure the release or the bond of an Israeli cybersecurity official who is accused of child sex crimes.
And enticing them, yeah.
And enticing minors over the internet. And then they go back to Israel, and then they'll deny involvement. And I literally thought it was fake.
And the Nevada U.S. attorney is some Israel first,
yeah, literally.
type person. Yeah, I mean, it's for me even worse when the cover up is always, I think, in my opinion, worse than the actual disease. They look so shady when they're doing this stuff. When instead of just being upfront and being like, yeah, we were involved here. And I think almost certainly they were involved here. They're the only criminal complaint that hasn't been filed, according to Ryan Grimm. I know, put up your fucking surrender hands. Ryan Grimm.
The issue with Ryan Grimm that you do.
I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue with Ryan Grimm. Some of the reporting.
No.
I'm just saying he has a bias.
But that's the same. I have that same with everyone.
People have biases. I'm just putting it out there that he has a bias.
And you're not.
I'm biased. I'm biased.
Do you make this disclaimer for any
biased.
other
Oh wait, no, it
reporter
wasn't him. It wasn't Ryan. It was Sagar. Sagar also biased. Listen, we all have biases. We all put out the biases. But anyway, Sagar's reporting because I don't know anything about Nevada criminal procedure, but they talk to some kind of legal mind from Nevada. And typically there's a criminal complaint filed during one of these cases that allows them to maintain like their trial date or maintain the date for not trial. For when they're going to get arraigned or when they have a court hearing.
Yeah.
And he's the only individual who has not been given a criminal complaint or that's not been filed. Anyway, that's just his report.
Aren't you alleging conspiracy?
I'm not alleging any conspiracy.
The United States is involved even though they have denied it and we don't have evidence that they were. It's just strange circumstances.
I'm not alleging it. I'm just saying that it's strange. And
you said you believe that the U.S. was involved in this. So what's your evidence for that?
Sorry. There is reporting that the FBI and DOJ were involved in the sting in some way or the aftermath of the sting.
Oh, but that's not...
Yeah,
that's not what you said, though.
Well, what I mean... All I mean is that I think that they're involved in interfering. I think that's part of the reporting too.
Yes, you did. So I'm asking, like, where's your evidence for that?
Yeah, there's some reporting. I don't recall. There was some reporter that I saw.
Convenient.
Hey, I don't recall. I saw it.
Convenient. Maybe when I asked for a citation for a claim that I made.
I don't remember. I'll try to find it. Hang on one second. I might have saved it. One sec. I might have saved it. I might have.
Maybe.
And if I didn't...
I mean, all you had was a tweet from me. I knew exactly what you're talking about. I'm the one with the fucking sources here. I'm the one that does the part for the show.
Do you have a source?
No, I know what you're referring to because it does talk about how the FBI was involved in the sting operation that they set up to apprehend these individuals and lure them into this or whatever.
Let me pull back. Let me pull back. I'm going to say, right now, I can't substantiate the notion that they were involved in interfering there. And I'm going to pull back on that and just say, what I do know is that they were involved... They were involved in the sting, is what I'll say. It seems like they were involved in the sting, or at least something related to the sting. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
They were involved enough to announce it, right? They announced charges, they announced. Let's see what they announced. They announced something on the U.S. Attorney's website that he was arrested, and then that was like 24 hours ago or something. And so they were announced enough and read in enough to make an announcement of state level charges.
Hold on, Alexandrovich. Let me find the Reuters article.
Segal Chata. They announced something.
What a name.
But they're just appointing these individuals who are super, super partisan to positions of... We're supposed to be more neutral. U.S. Attorney. It's a big, big position.
U.S. denies interfering in case of Israeli official accused of Nevada sex crime. This was reported yesterday. Where did they say this? The U.S. State Department said Monday the American government played no role in the release of an Israeli official charged with soliciting sex electronically from a minor. Tom Artyom Alexandrovich was one of 8 people charged last week following an undercover operation, quote, targeting child sex predators, the Las Vegas Metro Police said in a statement issued last week. He faces a felony charge of luring or attempting to lure a child or mentally ill person to commit a sex act with the use of computer technology, which he's an expert in, according to Nevada state records reviewed by Reuters.
And also, not that it is necessarily relevant, but Sigal Chattah had previously tweeted there are 2 million terrorists in Gaza. And basically, there are no innocent civilians in Gaza. And that's the person
shocker.
who
No
was
way.
who was appointed as U.S. attorney in Nevada.
The woman whose campaign ad relied on fear-mongering surrounding not just Muslims and Arabs generally, but a specific woman who she's not even running against
Yeah.
has attitudes that are fucking terrible towards Palestinians.
That's
I'm
crazy.
shocked,
Yeah,
man.
but
No
listen,
way.
guys. I, at the end of the day, I'm gonna try to find the reporting that I'm relying on. But it's just another example, I think, of the kind of divisive messaging, the kind of the character of the people. I just sent you a fucking tweet where she's passing the buck. Imagine a U.S. attorney under Biden or a Democrat tweeting something like this, and I do actually want to. Yeah, look at this. Right? Was this deleted? Where did you find this?
It's archived. It's because it's not the State Department federally. It's like the State Department for Nevada, Near Eastern Affairs. That's why.
All right, hang on a second. Okay, there we go.
So this says the Department of State is aware that Tom Alexandrovich, an Israeli citizen, was arrested in Las Vegas and given a court date for charges related to soliciting sex electronically from a minor. He did not claim diplomatic immunity and was released by a state judge pending a court date. Any claims that the U.S. government intervened are false.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, here we go. I just sent you a tweet of this woman. So imagine a Biden official tweeting something like this, a Biden U.S. attorney.
A liberal district attorney and state court judge in Nevada failed to require an alleged child molester to surrender his passport, which allowed him to flee our country. The AG, Pam Bondi, just called me outraged, and she also called FBI Director Kash Patel. The individual who fled our country should have had his passport seized by the state authorities. He must be returned immediately to face justice.
So real quick. So right now we have a U.S. government official, a representative of the Trump administration, who is calling on the state of Israel to return this man, calling him an alleged child molester. That's
not even what they accused him of.
That's the Trump administration's own spokespeople, their own major official that they have in Nevada, the lead prosecutor, federal prosecutor in Nevada, is stating this guy's an alleged child molester and that he must be returned immediately. That this was a mistake, that he should never have been sent back to Israel. If that's the case, can we get him back? Are we going to get him back? Go to the replies. I mean, the replies are always great. Why did you delete your personal account? Can we look at some of these tweets?
And this is the greatest hits. There are 2 million terrorists in Gaza. Lidi was in their home, and even the children are part of this. It's not just those carrying rifles and wearing green headbands. The so-called uninvolved civilians are not uninvolved at all. And then she's quote tweeting somebody that says, now let's do Gaza. 90% proud Hamas. It's not true. 10% scared Hamas. No two-state solution with terrorism.
So everyone's Hamas.
Labeling. Let's go wild.
So,
yeah, everyone's Hamas.
So basically, this is a genocidal tweet, right? Because you obviously need to kill Hamas, right? And so, I mean, isn't it genocidal by definition as a tweet?
Oh, 33,000 Palestinians have been killed? Well, that's too bad. They would have had 0 Palestinians killed if they would have released the hostages on October 8th. They want to live by the sword. They can die by the sword. Hashtag FAFO. Normal woman.
Normal U.S. attorney.
I mean, normal, like, part of the Trump administration. This is part and parcel for what I expect the tweet history.
Yeah. Keep scrolling
and
down.
opinions to be for somebody
She
who
gonna
is,
be upset if she's scrolling to the left. You are a vile piece of shit. Why did you delete your account?
Okay, multiple, yeah, this one. Okay, involved from FBI to DHS, meaning this was also under DOJ. The Israeli government pedophile also met with the FBI/NSA, so they knew who he was. Everyone else got sent to pretrial. Yet this pedo was allowed to flee the country with approval from the federal government.
So click into that. This is from the LA Metropolitan Police. Can you read it, please?
Hold on. There's this. This is like the statement that they made, but I think that they linked this statement here. Hold on.
Oh yeah. So we can actually make sure that it's the real statement, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay,
So it's a real statement.
So this was August 15th. 8 child sex predators arrested during undercover operation for immediate release. A multi-agency operation targeting child sex predators led to the arrest of 8 individuals over the last 2 weeks. The Nevada Internet Crimes Against Children, or ICAC, joint operation included detectives and agents from the ICAC Task Force and the FBI's Child Exploitation Task Force, to include the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, FBI. North Las Vegas Police Department, Henderson Police Department, Homeland
DHS.
Security Investigations,
Yep.
and the Nevada Attorney General's Office, who participated in organizing and conducting the
So
operation
this was
in
a
Henderson,
joint.
Nevada.
This was a joint federal state sting. So the federal government was involved here, and then
That part was intentional. What they didn't realize is that it was going to lead to the arrest of this fucking guy. They probably
so
wouldn't
maybe
have
they
fucking done it if they had known.
so maybe they don't know that this guy was involved in when they picked him up. So then
Yeah,
why
those
is
arrested were, and it includes this guy, Tom Alexandrovich, 38.
so of the people who've been arrested, right, in this sting that was conducted by multiple agencies, right? So this is a fairly, it's not just some random thing, right? This appears to be some kind of deliberate sting operation that was coordinated among different, both state and federal, of the DHS and FBI and all these different people. So when this occurs, and the only individual not to get the criminal complaint filed is this Alexandrovich, what the fuck is going on? And why they're now pointing fingers? Like, they apparently weren't on the same page. And what's the actual accusation here? The accusation is that Nevada wants to protect the Tom Alexandrovich. But between the Nevada state government and the Trump administration, who is like the most, in your opinion, or I'll ask the chat, it's a rhetorical question, sympathetic to Israel, the most willing to defend Israel at every turn? It's the Trump administration. And so this, to me, if I was going to make a bet on who was responsible, maybe it was just a fuck up, who knows? But I don't trust this federal government. I think everyone should take a negative inference whenever they're doing something messed up that interferes with or involves in some way Israel. I think you should take a negative inference against the administration.
In the Reuters article, it says the court records show a $10,000 bond was posted at the Henderson Detention Center, southeast of Las Vegas, on August 7th. Reuters could not immediately confirm his whereabouts and could not immediately locate contact info for Alexandrovich. The records indicate he is due back in court on August 27th. The Israeli embassy in Washington and the Israeli Prime Minister's office did not immediately return messages. Israeli media quoted the office as denying that Alexandrovich was arrested, saying only that a state employee was questioned by American authorities during his stay, and he had returned to Israel as scheduled. Reuters could not immediately ascertain the circumstances around Alexandrovich's arrest. The Las Vegas police statement credited the FBI, the Henderson Police Department, the North Las Vegas Police, the Department of Homeland Security with organizing the undercover operation. None of those agencies immediately replied to messages seeking comment on Alexandrovich's arrest or release. The Nevada District Attorney's Office referred questions back to the Henderson Police Department.
Damn.
And I was saying, I have never pulled up an article where, whether it be Reuters, the New York Times, the Daily Beast, they were attempting to reach the Trump administration for comment, and they weren't just told, you're contacting the wrong person, go here, go there. You never actually get a comment. Every single agency that they contact, whether it be the FBI, Homeland, doesn't matter what it's for,
They refer
the media is always contacting the wrong department. And they always want to refer them somewhere else, and then they follow them, and then that person refers them back to somewhere to some other agency. There's like zero transparency. They will not answer any questions ever.
It's crazy. This woman is crazy, and it's just part and parcel of the DOJ that, like, you would not. I don't make a lot of recommendations in terms of people's employment and shit. I don't really do that, but if I were a up and coming lawyer, and a lot of the DOJ lawyers, or people who wanted to be DOJ lawyers, they were already kind of either put off or had their job employment canceled when the new administration took over. I don't know if you remember, there was like a employee hiring freeze that took place, Aaron. But anyway, like they canceled an entire class of DOJ honors, I think, which is one of the most prestigious programs for like the best up and coming lawyers who want to work in the Department of Justice. I would not recommend, if you were a new lawyer, to go start working with the DOJ. You're working under fucking crazy people, under just mass amounts of scrutiny. You never know when they're going to throw you under the fucking bus, or whether all your correspondence, all your actions are going to be subjected to like crazy amounts of scrutiny. And honestly, I would say similar things for individuals who are involved with certain law firms that have made deals with the Trump administration to work on their pet projects. Like Trump just made like an announcement that the law firms that he has come to a deal with are going to be involved in some of the negotiations for either some trade negotiations or stuff like that. Like, do not debase yourself. Do not get involved in these matters if you can avoid it. Do not get involved, certainly in the Department of Justice right now. That would be my recommendation.
Student debt doesn't pay itself off, Pisco.
Yeah, well.
Like literally any other job, you could go work for any other firm.
Yeah.
And it would be more secure than attempting to work with this administration in any way, shape, or form. Well, on that actually reminds me of the articles that I picked for this week.
Yeah.
Let me see. This was.
By the way, I also picked articles. I didn't just pick a tweet. So there is.
I never denied that you did.
I know.
Chill.
I just want to make sure people understand.
Chill out. Okay. So defensive for no reason. Is someone feeling insecure about the fact that you helped me do like zero prep outside of what you want to cover?
Whoa. I can read this.
You're free to answer that question.
I'm not going to justify it with a response, all right? The incredible disappearing human rights reports. The State Department's new reports.
From The Intercept. This is Pisco's favorite outlet.
The best outlet. New report whitewashes the records of some of the world's most notorious nations and target Trump's enemies. Big surprise.
So this dropped in the last few days. The State Department released its annual reports on human rights around the world on Tuesday and revealed an administration set on whitewashing the records of some of the world's worst violators of human rights. The hollowed-out reports on roughly 200 countries and territories omit references to LGBTQ+ discrimination and curtail information on government abuses, including gender-based violence and government corruption. They no longer include sections focused on systemic racial or ethnic discrimination and violence. No surprise there. This one, though. Child abuse or child sexual exploitation.
Well, that's so funny. And I want to dovetails with a comment that I want to respond to where it says, dude paid his bond and has a court date. What's the connection here? The point is, I think most people are afraid of potential child abuse or child sex exploiters for being potential flight risks, and certainly like if you go to a foreign country like Israel, why would you come back to your court date if you didn't think that if you thought that you were likely to like spend a decade plus in prison? So that's one of the concerns here.
The Israeli government backing you, saying nothing to see here, denying that you were arrested, you returned home as scheduled. It's all fine. Why would you ever return? There's literally zero incentive for you to return and be arraigned or whatever it is.
But it looks like the Trump administration's policy on child sex exploitation is a little broader now. They want to make sure the reports are not. I don't know what kind of reports are these.
They're human rights reports that documents human rights abuses in countries around the world, even including allies and adversaries of the United States. The congressionally mandated human rights reports, which are used to guide U.S. decisions on diplomacy and aid, have been turned into wholly political documents that target countries with whom the Trump admin has clashed and soft-pedal abuses by the administration's allies. Israel and countries like El Salvador, South Sudan, and Eswatini, which have agreed to accept and in some cases imprison U.S. deportees as part of Trump's growing global gulag, got a soft touch. South Africa, which has led the war crimes case against Israel at The Hague, received a more pointed report. So in Israel's human rights report, in 2023, it was 103 pages, certainly more comprehensive. For 2025, it is 9 pages long. The page count of the report on Israel, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strip, for example, dropped by more than 91%, plummeting from 103 pages last year to just 9, while previous editions, including reports from President Donald Trump's first term, included significant material on abuses documented by the UN and human rights groups. Such accounts were almost entirely omitted from the new report. The Israel report, while egregious, is no outlier. The new report on El Salvador shrank from 44 pages last year to just 11. The report released in 2024 detailed overcrowded prisons and reports of arbitrary killings, enforced disappearance, torture, or cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment by security forces. I know. Harsh and life-threatening prison conditions and arbitrary arrest or detention, among other abuses. This is the more crazy thing. Read this. 2025.
There are no credible reports of significant human rights abuses in El Salvador. I read that. That is insane. This is your government. This is how much we have fallen. We are living in an authoritarian state where the truth doesn't matter at all. They're saying that Sikot and the accusations of human rights abuses in Sikot don't exist, that the official stated policy of El Salvador, which is a state of emergency where there are like basically no rights, no right of defense at all, that doesn't exist, that there's no problems in El Salvador. That's crazy.
Rhetorical two-step that occurs is that Donald Trump is being tough on crime. He's deporting these people, but they fucking deserve it because look at what they did. You get the Lindy Lee pulling up just not even official mugshots, just pictures of brown men who you're supposed to be scared by, reads off, you don't even know if they're legitimate charges. You don't know if they've actually been convicted or tried in a court of law. She just says, this is what they fucking did. They should be in there. But then they turn around and say, actually, it's fine. No human rights abuses. So it's not that bad. Which is it? Do these people deserve the worst of the worst conditions because of what they did and you should be fine with it? Or actually, there's no human rights abuses. It's completely fine.
Nothing to see
then
here.
what's the difference? If there's no human rights abuses, these same people say that like that doesn't occur in our prisons, and so I guess they're not tough enough. Then just keep them here and imprison them here. If we have the exact same types of prisons or whatever.
I had a little bit of a goosebump when you showed the El Salvador thing. That's crazy. That is absolutely
because you expect it with Israel. You expect it with Israel. This, and again, I expected it to be omitted. There's a difference between omitting information versus literally concluding and saying there is nothing going on here in this country that constitutes a significant human rights abuse. Especially when just the year before, I guess in a year they just magically completely reversed a trend of unspeakable crimes against like civil rights abuses against their own citizens.
It's wild. Say it. Lindy needs to
be deported back to China, bitch. Okay, this I'll say it. I fucking hate her. I can't stand these people. How can you defend this shit? She does it for a fucking check, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
But it's probably not even a good check. This year's report on El Salvador says there were no credible reports of significant human rights abuses, while incongruously claiming there were no significant changes in the human rights situation in El Salvador last year.
So there never was any abuses. Nothing bad has ever happened. Bukele's just a really good guy.
It didn't happen. I mean, if it happened, it happened, but it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Oh my
Local
God.
and international human rights groups have documented mass arbitrary detention, torture, sexual violence against women and girls in detention, and enforced disappearances in El Salvador. A recent Amnesty International report, for example, chronicled human rights violations, including arbitrary detentions, serious failings in the judicial system, prison overcrowding, inhumane detention conditions, and torture, among many other abuses. So, State Department spokesperson and former Fox commentator Tammy Bruce offered a tortured defense of Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio's influence on watering down the reports on Tuesday, framing it as a laissez-faire attitude towards human rights. Quote, I would ask that people view this as an indication of our point of view in general, that there's no country that is singled out for condemnation or singled out for praise. It's the nature of the consistency of our diplomats, how President Trump and Secretary Rubio view the nature of what's happening in those countries, said Bruce, claiming that the cuts increase readability while eliminating politically biased demands and assertions. So they're actually being less political by lying and covering for these countries, omitting facts, just outright fabricating information entirely to conclude whatever they want. That's them being neutral. Why would we want to be neutral in the first place with stuff like this? This is not a political matter. This would be this is a nonpartisan human rights abuse.
By the way,
ostensibly,
I do think that there should be protests at the El Salvador embassies, Corey, just to be clear on where I stand. I think that there should be protests at the El Salvador embassies. There should be protests at El Salvador. I do think that. But read this quote again, or I'll read it. Quote, it's the nature of the consistency of our diplomats, how President Trump and Secretary Rubio view the nature of what's happening in those countries. What a fucking empty, vacuous statement. But the reality is, in a sense, it is true. They view the nature of what's happened in those countries as being principally in favor of Trump. And that's why principally they're in favor of them.
It's like, what does that even mean? What does that sentence really mean?
Mm-hmm.
It means nothing. It's like, this is supposed to be the explanation for why they did this. And it's like every single layer of the Terminator exoskeleton being peeled back, and it's like, it just like less and less is there. You're not actually learning anything else. It's like, it's creating more, just a great reference.
Yeah.
It's creating more confusion, which is obviously the fucking point.
Yeah.
The State Department under Secretary Rubio has shamelessly turned a once credible tool of U.S. foreign policy mandated by Congress into yet another instrument to advance MAGA political grievances and culture war obsessions, says Representative Gregory Meeks, Democrat from New York, the ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Meeks added this administration continues to do irreparable harm to America's credibility and global leadership as it retreats from defending human rights abroad and attacks the rule of law and civil liberties of Americans here at home.
Yep. And maybe one of the reasons they can credibly say there are no human rights abuses, or why they're saying it, is because they're doing the same kind of due process deprivations in America among people who are in America. And obviously it's not isolated, because to the extent that El Salvador is committing human rights abuses, America now under Trump has a central role in that causality. They are partners in this human rights abuse.
Yeah, we're facilitating that.
Yes.
We are helping with that. We're looking the other way.
And also Israel.
And also Israel. So we read this, like this explains like what the purpose is. Instructions issued earlier this year to the State Department's Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor, which has been eviscerated under an America First reorganization by Rubio, took specific aim at non-refoulement, derived from a French word for return, which forbids sending people to places where they are at risk of harm. It's a bedrock principle of international human rights, refugee and customary international law, and is embedded in U.S. domestic law. State Department employees were specifically instructed that the upcoming country reports should remove any reference to refoulement of persons to a country where they would face torture or persecution, according to the memo, which was obtained by the Intercept
American
prior to the
law.
release of the news reports.
It is American law not to have refoulement of persons where they're going to face torture or persecution. We are a party to the Convention Against Torture. We have in U.S. law an ability for individuals to apply to not be removed in violation of the Convention Against Torture. The reason why, or one of the reasons why, they're probably removing these references to refoulement and to the Convention Against Torture is because Trump is violating it, and Trump is sending people back to where they're likely to be tortured or to
and
places.
eventually he'll die or not be in power, and these individuals may or
Right.
may not be returned to the United States, at which points they could attempt to seek damages and sue the United States government
But the
for
Supreme
their
Court probably
treatment.
destroyed- Yeah, I
Now
know.
it's never going to, how can you bring, what evidence do you have if, again, literal U.S. documents have laundered in lies surrounding the conditions in these countries?
Yeah.
Then it's like, then, what are you supposed to say? I mean, you can say Amnesty International or whatever, but I mean, if it's another Republican government, it's still going to be a Republican Supreme Court. They're just going to go along with it. They're just going to go along with the lies that the State Department has permanently ensconced in the public record.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think that at this point, I don't know what the prospect is for any kind of litigation, civil litigation, to get damages out of this administration with the amount of immunity, both criminal and civil, that the president now has. I just think that it's a very dim prospect anyway, but certainly doesn't help to have the information stream be poisoned and toxified by political censorship, really.
This reminds me of what happened, I think, this was around early in the administration with the Doge cuts. At one point, the Medicare or Medicaid websites nationwide were experiencing outages, and then the United States government was denying this. And then was Elon Musk correct me if I'm wrong? Was he not trying to do Medicaid cuts literally through Doge or interfere with stuff like this? That it's like you literally can't do this because it's congressionally allocated.
They were fucking somehow, either through Social Security employment, or they were trying to get access to certain data. Sorry, I'm being distracted by the construction noises outside. But yeah, Elon was trying to fuck with Social Security. He was.
So they're trying, and I swear this was related to the fact that there was some lawsuit that was already brought forth against the United States saying these are unconstitutional, you can't do this. And then the United States had put out a memo, and then they revoked the memo. But then the purpose of revoking that memo was pretty much so you could not hold them accountable in a court of law, saying that this wasn't official policy or something like that. It's like the same, just weird. They're fucking with like the administrative portions of these things and the paper trails, so you can't even hold them accountable later in a court of law because there's no paper trail because we took back the paper trail or whatever, or we amended it so it doesn't include that
now to make sure that we're aware of all the abuses, and the fact that and good on them for noticing that this shit's been I guess the Democrats in their committees noticed it too. But yeah, let's look at what they did with South Africa. So South Africa, for those who don't know, have brought a case in the ICJ of genocide against Israel for Gaza. And so the argument, I guess, would be that they're going hard on South Africa because of their stance and being the main country that is leveling this charge.
Plus the fact that we've taken refugees from this country under the guise of white genocide going on in South Africa. So in 2024, many observers attributed the incidents to the country's high and growing crime rate. The incidents being some advocacy groups asserted white farmers were racially targeted for burglaries, home invasions, and killings. In 2025, the executive summary of the human rights report for South Africa says the human rights situation in South Africa significantly worsened during the year, with the signing of a bill on December 20th. South Africa took a substantially worrying step towards land expropriation of Afrikaners and further abuses against racial minorities in the country. The government did not take...
Weird about the expropriations and the that stuff happens and another country that like a lot of countries that America's allied with, but specifically a notable one that currently is stealing a shit ton of land from its rightful owners.
The government did not take credible steps to investigate, prosecute, and punish officials who committed human rights abuses, including inflammatory racial rhetoric against Afrikaners and other racial minorities, or violence against racial minorities.
Weird.
So yeah, Trump has long claimed that land seizures from white South Africans were commonplace, a falsehood pushed by right-wing groups in South Africa. Trump and Rubio have repeatedly criticized South Africa's racial equity laws this year, particularly a recent measure that allows the government to take privately owned land without providing compensation when it is deemed to be in the public interest. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa said earlier this year that his country had not, in fact, seized any land. In February, Trump cut aid to South Africa and accusing the government of discriminating against the country's white minority by enacting, quote, policies designed to dismantle equal opportunity in employment, education, and business. Trump issued an executive order that called for the U.S. to resettle Afrikaners as refugees, casting them as, quote, victims of unjust racial discrimination. Experts have said there is no evidence that white farmers are being targeted because of their race. Like, they'll point to examples of crime that's occurring within South Africa, but one you would expect that there's literally no like country developing that has eradicated crime entirely. And they try to say that it's like hate crime or it's out of control, but it's like it's normal crimes that you would expect that are not, there's no evidence to suggest that they are racially motivated or they're targeted. It's like, no, anybody can have their car jacked, anybody can have property of theirs destroyed, anybody can face theft in any of these countries. And they try to suggest that like, not only is that occurring, but again, it's like, it's common against like white South Afrikaners specifically.
Well, I don't know anything about it, about whether it's racial or not. I do find it funny.
You're agnostic?
I don't know about. I just don't know about it because we'll have to see what Lauren Southern says on the issue. But it is
You
notable
read her
that
book yet?
I'm in the process of reading the book. We'll see. I'm gonna do a review video on it. So we'll get
very exciting.
And I know that everyone's waiting for me to review Lauren Southern's book, but I am reading it currently.
On the edge of my seat.
Yeah, be on the edge of the seat. Real quick. I do think that it's fucking shameful that we've basically closed off asylum for everyone in this country arriving from the southern border. Recently, there were reports. I don't know if I can't confirm them that Laura Loomer told Trump to shut down any Gazan refugees, even
that's true.
Children. Yeah, I haven't confirmed it, but
It's
we're
true.
like,
I have links. You want to see the links?
I believe you. I believe you.
No, it's literally.
Yeah.
Hold on, chill. We're watching this.
Oh yeah, put it up.
Of course, I'm more informed on you than this shit. So Rubio went on Face the Nation. Huh?
I cited it. How did you pull that up so fast? You have an uncanny ability. You have an uncanny ability to bring things up incredibly fast.
I know. I should be like Jamie from Joe Rogan or something.
Rogan, yeah.
I don't even need grok. I can just there, okay? Rubio on U.S. blocking visitor visas from Gaza. So this disgusting policy was inspired by none other than Laura fucking Loomer. I don't know what she has. I understand that, like, Trump, she's in Trump's ear. He fucking listens to her. She has Marco Rubio's balls in a vice grip. You just can't see it because it's off camera, and she controls it. Or she has one of those, like, butt plugs that you can, like, stick up somebody and, like, control it with a fucking remote.
Whoa!
Maybe instead of the ones that, like, vibrate, she has one that would, like, send off an electrical shock because this is not the first time he has listened to Laura Loomer and made a decision based off of some shit she was crying about.
He's like fired military generals because Laura Loomer said some shit. This is to the super chat from Doobie, $10. I don't know how much about court processes, but is it unusual that a criminal complaint hasn't been filed for the Israeli dude when it's been filed for all the others? I don't know because I don't practice in Nevada, never have practiced in Nevada, have no interest in practicing in Nevada. But that's what Sagar tweeted, that he talked to someone who has some familiarity with the process. So I mentioned it just because he seem to talk to somebody, but I don't have any independent knowledge of the procedures in Nevada.
He keeps up with all of Sagar and Jetty's tweets. He has it turned on so that he gets a push notification. And Jetty?
Oh, my bad.
It is your bad.
My bad. I thought you said Sagar and Jenny because you've, I don't know, thought that Crystal's name was
This is
Jenny.
not the first time that you've thought I was saying
yeah,
that,
sorry,
but whatever.
Sorry.
Yeah, he has post notifications on for Sagar's tweets.
Always, yeah.
Before I let you go quickly, why did the State Department just announce that they're halting visitor visas for all Gazans coming here for medical aid? Why would some of these kids, for example, who are coming to hospitals for treatment be a threat?
So it's not even asylum. It's not even refugees. So I was wrong about that. It's just visitor visas for medical treatment. So it's even less.
Yep, they were never trying to resettle any of these Palestinians.
It's just for medical treatment.
Temporary.
Yes.
And it's been occurring over the past year.
No, so I'm glad that's a correction, actually, because I thought it was for. They probably already banned them from being refugees. So that was stupid of me to think. Yeah, just banning them from even coming to the country to get medical help.
Yeah. We're talking about children that have been maimed, had their limbs fucking like taken off of them, and they're accompanied by an adult, and that adult might not actually even be their guardian. The reason why, which to these people, that means it could be Hamas, of course.
Right.
But in 2023, hold on, wounded. So this was a new term that had to be created. It was created by Doctors Without Borders following the Israel's incursion into Gaza after October 7th. Wounded Child No Surviving Family, or WCNSF, is a medical and humanitarian crisis term which appeared during the humanitarian crisis in Gaza as a result of the outbreak of the Gaza war in 2023. By March 2024, it was estimated that 17,000 children were part of this category. The term was first reported by Doctors Without Borders, MSF, in November 2023. So there are so many children in Gaza that have had their entire family wiped out. They have no surviving members left to take care of them, that they had to create this designation to be able to assist them with medical treatment domestically and abroad.
And now, presumably, even people who are wounded child, no surviving family won't have the privilege of access to hospitals and help in America, even if they're paid, right? So it's not an issue of payment, right? It's not like America, it's just denying even access to step foot in the country to receive the care that they need.
Brett.
Well, first of all, it's not just kids, it's a bunch of adults that are accompanying them. Second, we had outreach from multiple congressional offices asking questions about it. And so we're going to reevaluate how those visas are being granted, not just to the children, but how those visas are being granted to the people who are accompanying them. And by the way, to some of the organizations that are facilitating it. There is evidence been presented to us by numerous congressional offices that some of the organizations bragging about and involved in acquiring these visas have strong links to.
What's his play here? Like, he obviously at some point wants to run for president again. Rubio does. But, like, he is developing, I have to think, so much baggage by trying to be the person, like, the adult, quote-unquote, adult in the room. And I never liked that, never believed it, that Rubio was the adult in the room. I think that that's a stupid little meme. But
he's the fucking toddler in the corner of the fucking playpen.
Right. Like, by trying to have to, like, explain the policy of the Trump administration where the State Department is at the nexus of a lot of shit that people hate about the Trump administration, including what they're doing with El Salvador, including what they're doing with Israel. How can this be in Rubio's long-term interest? Maybe it's just to survive the 4 years, but trying to be a sane face instead of just like talking shit like some of these other figures do. Like JD Vance, in some respect, I think also has to play this role of trying to like doll up whatever the administration is doing, but I can't imagine that Rubio thinks that this isn't his or does he? What's
short
the
of
logic?
Marjorie Taylor Greene or Thomas Massey running in the next for president, who is going to call them out for being Israel first or too pro-Israel? They all take AIPAC money. Everyone who's a Republican takes AIPAC money. They can't even call them out for this shit. So they can't bring up clips of Marco Rubio saying, if you criticize Israel, you're not coming to this fucking country. Not if you criticize the United States, apparently you can still come, right? But just Israel. You know, would love to see his fucking reaction to that on the debate stage. No one can fucking do it because they're all bought off by Israel, so it's not going to happen.
But is he reading the room correctly? And is it too optimistic to say something like this, that people are becoming less sympathetic to AIPAC, less sympathetic to these kinds of views?
I think they were. I mean, show me the evidence that Americans were sympathetic to AIPAC to begin with. I don't think people even realize the extent to which the Israel lobby is money and interest, or like is a special interest group and quite, the force as far as that's concerned in United States domestic affairs and international and foreign policy. I think that it's new that Americans realize like, oh, the Israel lobby is actually very, very plays a very, very prominent role in an entire matrix of special interest groups that influence and dictate American foreign policy.
You don't think that there's been like a new push, especially among young people, including young conservatives, that are a little bit more Israel skeptic? I mean, just the mere fact.
No, there definitely is. There definitely is. There's more open anti-Semitism, neo-Nazism, fascism.
Well, that's what I don't like.
You see it.
I don't like that the administration's posturing, I think, is encouraging that kind of conflation. That I just want to be clear again that like we don't like that. We don't support that, and we think part of the reasons why we're against these policies, both because of the policies themselves, but also because I think that it probably will increase anti-Semitism, unjustifiably so, and it will usher in a bunch of people like Nick Fuentes, or even if they're not official figures, like you can hear Charlie Kirk starting to sound more and more like Nick Fuentes every single day.
Back to Israel and Jews.
Because
I agree that I already know it's anti-Semitism globally has increased. Since October 7th. I know that's the case.
He hasn't gone as far as Nick does for sure, and he's definitely not.
You know about their feud, right?
Yeah, I know about their feud.
You know when when Fuentes sent those groypers to the fucking TPUSA conferences, and they're all like asking him like, how does fucking gay sex help us win the culture war? Tell me about the dancing Israelis.
But he's being way more critical than he used to be, and he's taking of Israel, and not specifically on Israel necessarily, but he's taking some of the policy positions and platform of Fuentes and trying to package it up in a way that I think is appealing to his growing relevance. And I think that the Groypers and Nick Fuentes are becoming more relevant and becoming more mainstream. I do think that, and I'm concerned about it.
No, I've not seen this. I mean, Charlie Kirk being anti-Semitic wouldn't surprise me, but what I've seen is that he saves and reserves the majority of the most inflammatory comments he'll make surrounding race, primarily for Black people, but also for Muslims and Arab people. He and Megyn Kelly talking about Zoran went just like fucking mask off,
I'm not
saying
that
things
Kirk,
that you could not say about any other demographic. I think
Kirk supports Israel.
In trouble.
I just want to be clear. I think Kirk supports Israel. I'm just saying it's I think a measure of the influence of some of these anti-Semitic right-wing people that they're feeling that they have to at least cater to some of that feeling, or at least match them in terms of the rhetoric on immigration, or match them in terms of the rhetoric on Black people, right? So I'm not saying that Kirk is anti-Semitic or anti-Israel or anything. What I'm saying is the fact that more mainstream figures are feeling the need and push, or an opportunity perhaps, to appeal to that sentiment on the right, I think is an indication of how relevant it is, in my opinion.
I've not seen it, because he fell in line behind Trump when it came to the strikes on Iran and obliterating the nuclear facility or whatever. So, I mean, I'm open to it, but I'd need to see a clip.
No, sorry. I'm not saying that Charlie Kirk is not pro-Israel. I'm saying I think more mainstream figures are starting to...
you said Charlie Kirk specifically is starting to adopt similar positions and rhetoric to Nick Fuentes, and I thought you meant with respect to Israel, because you said he's starting to be more critical of Israel, and I'm like, really, where? And you're now backing off of that.
He is starting to seem like, so for example, he had this round table with a bunch of people from Turning Point USA, where there was a pushback on the position towards Israel. Well, before he was like, Israel is America's best friend. We should all be hand in hand with Israel at all times. Now Charlie Kirk's position seems to be like, you can criticize Israel more, and it's okay to criticize Israel, but you can't say da 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 da. So that's one example of the kind of moderation, as opposed to being an Israel fanatic, that Charlie Kirk has felt the need to have to do,
and you
at least
think
in conversation
he's motivated
with
by Fuentes.
No, I don't think he's motivated. I just want to be clear. I don't think he's motivated to be anti-Israel. You're not hearing me. The chat's not hearing me. I think he's motivated because he sees that there's some right down the wall.
If I'm not hearing you, the chat's not hearing you. Maybe you just didn't fucking explain it clearly. So please do so right now. I thought that's what you were saying.
I think that people like Charlie Kirk and more pro-Israel figures, even now I would say more mainstream conservative figures, not like the Lindsey Grahams of the world, but some class of online commentator, is seeing tons of anti-Israel sentiment among the right wing and is feeling the need or feeling outflanked on that issue, and to have to cater and at least moderate some of their views or signal like they're okay in accepting some criticism of Israel, obviously not the full amount of it, but I'm just noticing that as an indication that there's a growing sentiment on the right wing that is increasingly, I think, Israel skeptic, and that it's empowering some people on the right, people like Fuentes and literal anti-Semites in ways that are troublesome. That's all I'm saying.
They've made, what you're saying is that even if you don't think it's actually led to a true change of heart or policies, that they have made rhetorical pivots.
Correct.
Because it's untenable for them to just be rah-rah Israel uncritically without getting
you said
a
it way
bunch
better
of
than me.
pushback. Yes. Of course they
You said it way better than me. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yep.
One of us is a lawyer, BTW, not me.
Hamas. And so we are not going to be in partnership with groups that are friendly with Hamas. So we're going to pause those visas. There was just a small number of them issued to children, but they come with adults accompanying them, obviously. And we are going to pause this program and reevaluate how those visas are being vetted, and what relationship, if any, has there been by these organizations to the process of acquiring those visas. We're not going to be in partnership with groups that have links or sympathies towards Hamas.
Secretary.
And apparently that was going on for the last year, just raging in the background, this partnership that existed between domestic groups in the United States and Hamas. And no one noticed until Laura Loomer tweeted about it, naturally.
Right. So
And no pushback.
Rubio, we
she
have
doesn't
to
give any
leave it
pushback
there
on this.
for this morning.
We
Thank you
have
for
to leave it
joining
there,
us.
Senator
you.
Rubio.
Aaron, can you talk a little bit about the Laura Loomer connection there? So what did you cover, or do you know anything about? So because she tweeted something, right? Oh, look, you.
Yeah,
have
okay,
it
so
ready.
the Times reports U.S. pauses visas for Gazans after right-wing outcry. Who is the right-wing outcry being led by, though?
Wow.
So
She's mentioned, yeah.
Yeah, of course. The State Department said it would assess the process behind those visas. All visitor visas for individuals from Gaza are being stopped while we conduct a full and thorough review. Spoiler alert, all of these people, all of these kids, if you were in the United States or about to go to the United States for medical treatment temporarily, not even to be resettled, not to be accepted as a refugee, there is no way you hadn't already come in contact with, you hadn't already been at the Israeli assembly and been embassy and been vetted. That had already happened. So they're just lying. They're making it sound like, oh, we weren't even doing background checks on kids. No, they were.
It's not like these are countries that have a visa waiver program like this. These are countries that where you need to apply for a visitor's visa in the first place.
Electric butt plug was going crazy during that segment. That's what I'm saying. I can't think of any other. Do you have a more compelling hypothesis? To me, this is the most obvious conclusion to draw.
Maybe she had sex with Trump and is holding it. Those rumors were there, right?
I know. Like that she's his mistress. Yes.
That would
he
be
had sex with the purged mask.
That would actually shock me and make me feel ill if that were true. Can you just be honest? How would it make you feel? Like that would make me fucking throw up if it were true. And even just thinking about this is making me a little wheezy. That is insane. That can't be true. Is it true?
Oh, it can't be true. Trump would never do something so fucking gross. Trump would never cheat on Melania Trump with somebody.
With Laura Loomer?
Why not?
It's disgusting.
That does not. I don't think that would stop Trump.
No,
the move came after an intense lobbying campaign by the right-wing activist Laura Loomer, who called the incoming flights, quote, a national security threat, in a flurry of social media posts starting on Friday that targeted a non-profiting aiding and medical evacuations. Just weeks ago, the nonprofit Heal Palestine, an Ohio-based group that helps Palestinian families and children. Now, I'm sure this is part of the Springfield, Ohio Hamas chapter, probably affiliated with that. Began orchestrating what it called the largest, apparently Marco Rubio can imagine, he's crafting state policy based off that baseless assumption.
Wow.
Largest single medical evacuation of injured children from Gaza to the U.S., bringing injured and ill Gazan children to the United States for care. To date, the group has said it has evacuated, again, whopping 63. It's not even like a ton of people. Injured children for treatment, including 11 from age 6 to 15, who were flown to hospitals in 9 U.S. cities this month. Many of the children had lost limbs during the conflict in Gaza. They're expected to travel to Egypt to rejoin their families once their medical care is complete, according to Heal Palestine. The group, which was founded last year and also operates food kitchens in Gaza, said in a statement on Sunday that it was alarmed by the State Department's decision. This is a medical treatment program, not a refugee resettlement program.
No, I'm glad I got that fact check because that is even worse on every single level.
Yeah. I mean, it would be disgusting if they were trying to prevent refugees, child refugees from Gaza from coming here. But the fact that they can't even extend them a temporary stay for emergency medical services after they've already been vetted, and just slandering them is affiliated with Hamas. Disgusting. Our mission gives children a renewed chance at life, whether through life-saving surgery or the ability to walk again. So somebody from a policy institute,
Miss Loomer, who wields extraordinary power in shaping Trump administration decisions over personnel and policy despite not having an official role in government, says she first learned the flights early. This woman is firing 4-star generals, is making it so children who've lost limbs don't get medical treatment. It's got to be a butt plug. It's got to be sex. It's got to be something. I mean, what else could it be? Does she have that much influence? Is she does anyone look to Laura Loomer as
Donald Trump.
Well, she's been loyal
James
to Trump.
O'Keefe.
She's been super loyal to Trump. James O'Keefe?
And he loves loyalty. Yeah, isn't that the guy who runs Project Veritas?
Well, not anymore. It's
Well, he used to, and she
He used to.
she
They had
says that
they
she
had to
has
split off.
connections with Roger Stone, James O'Keefe, other kind of Gavin McInnes. I felt like this was something
McInnes, he seemed very, when I debated him on Tim Pool, he seemed super sensitive to the Israel issue. and he had mentioned sometime, either it was on stage
what way?
or before, he was like, I'm super pro-Israel, 100% pro-Israel. Which I'm like, I didn't know the Proud Boys' official position was like that they were like officially Zionists.
Well, that's that Proud Boys' official position. I don't know that it's the.
Oh yeah, he founded it. I don't know. He's probably not in charge anymore. What is it with Canadians?
I don't know. All these Canadians trying to interfere in our fucking elections. Steven Crowder, Lauren Southern, Gavin McInnes, fucking Ted Cruz.
We need a fucking full-on ban.
Well,
no, wait, hang on.
Yeah,
Ted Cruz
until we figure out what the hell is going on.
Ted Cruz, his parents are
He had
Canadian.
Canadian citizenship that he has since.
Wait, what?
Yes, every single person that's born in the interior of Canada is granted Canadian citizenship, regardless of whether you were born on what is considered U.S. territory because it's a U.S. base or not.
Right.
So since he was born there,
so even though he was on
again,
it was Canadian soil, he was granted Canadian citizenship.
Yeah.
God damn.
And he had to renounce that because he didn't even know that until he started running. He was ran for Senate or whatever, or for presidency. I can't remember. And that's when he renounced it. But yeah, this is somebody who argues against birthright citizenship and has been for practically a decade. And Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson on their podcast episode, she was like, he's a Canadian, he's not American.
Well,
I'm pro-birtherism for Ted Cruz, though. I'm completely fine with that, just running rampant.
Really?
We don't really know. Maybe he's a Canadian, maybe he didn't really renounce it. Maybe he's not really an American
I'm going to be
citizen.
like Arnold Schwarzenegger and be like, hey, when they go low, we got to go high. We can't do birtherism.
You're not being like Schwarzenegger. You're being like a Michelle Obama. That's what Michelle Obama shit. Why'd you say Schwarzenegger?
Oh, because he's against the governor's plan. He's against Gruesome Newsom's redistricting thing. He's going to campaign against
he's not doing it unilaterally. He's proposing a constitutional amendment that's going on a ballot. It's going to be put to a vote.
I know, and Schwarzenegger's against that.
We can't even put ballot measures and amendments on
he can be against a measure. What, we have to support all the measures?
No, well, there's a difference between what's his argument? Because these people don't even think it's democratic to even ask this of voters. Charlie Kirk said it's Gavin Newsom's being undemocratic by even trying to put this to a vote.
It's so stupid.
He said that on Fox News.
What you said to me about the whole hypocrisy on, I forget what you said. We were talking about something related to something either Ryan Mullally said, or we were looking at history and the constitutional changes that occurred in history. And you said something very insightful, but it's been rolling around in my mind. But I can't remember just now. But I will say that the picking and choosing of which anti-democratic frameworks that nonetheless have been embraced by the founders or were embraced by the founders, and saying it couldn't even be on the table to get rid of the electoral college. Couldn't be on the table even to have a more proportional
to
Senate.
pack the Supreme Court, to abolish the to get rid of the Senate or something like that. Even questioning these things, even trying to put them to a vote, even trying to raise the national conversation about it, that's unconstitutional. That's wrong. But when these people try to get rid of birthright citizenship, when these people abuse due process, when they can't even name what the fuck habeas corpus is, then suddenly that they're simultaneously originalists, but also shut the fuck up. This is a novel, conservative interpretation of the Supreme Court or of the Constitution that you've never heard of. So
wild.
Clear Watch in my chat says it's because Schwarzenegger was the one who implemented it in the first place. So maybe he was the one who pushed for the independent commission or whatever.
So he's a little mad.
Wouldn't surprise me because there's bipartisan support from independents to conservatives to Democrats across the country for there to be independent commissions that determine the lines, and it's not a matter of the state legislature deciding.
All else equal, yeah.
Where did she say? Yeah, okay. Representative Chip Roy, fantastic name. Republican of
Texas. Is his real
Texas.
name Chip? There's no way his fucking birth mother and birth father named him Chip. Let's get his real name.
It's Chip.
It's not Chip.
It would say Chip if it were anything else.
His name's Charles.
Charles Eugene Chip
You
Roy.
thought his parents named him Chip. I can't get over that. You thought his parents named him Chip?
Yeah, well, you're saying that Charlie Kirk criticizing Israel means that he's captured by Groyper, so.
I didn't say that. Okay. Can you share something again? Because now our thing's fucked up.
Because I closed out the tab while I was sharing it. It went away. Hold on.
Yeah. All that. Because we have more stories, and by the way, we still have to cover some amount of her take. I don't know.
A
if
lot of it
show.
is good this week, though.
Okay,
a lot of it's
we'll have
good.
to take a look.
Okay, so Chip Roy, and yeah, again, it's Texas. I only lived in Texas for 23 years. I have met people with even weirder names, believe me. I went to school with a kid named Qui-Gon Jinn. So,
no.
no. Yes, I did.
You have
Yes, I
not
did.
gone to school with a guy named Qui-Gon
Yes, I
Jinn.
did. Yeah, I did. He played the bass in middle school orchestra.
Qui-Gon Jinn, the bass
His name was
player?
Qui-Gon.
Was he
Yes.
like into Star Wars? Did he dress up as Qui-Gon? He probably hates
He didn't pick his name. His parents fucking named him.
Qui-Gon
That was
Jinn.
his official. That was literally his name. Yes, Qui-Gon Jinn was his name.
Did he have a last name, or was his last name Jinn? Do you have to say the last name?
I don't remember his last name. He didn't have a last name.
Okay, how many people do you think are named Qui-Gon Jinn? You probably doxed this guy.
Well,
You
if you
definitely
search
doxed-
Qui-Gon Jinn, I'm not worried about my classmate coming up. Okay. Are you? Should I
I'm
be
worried,
concerned
I'm
about
worried. Search Qui-Gon Jinn, Texas. You're gonna.
You're putting it on their
You're gonna
mind.
find
Stop.
it. Okay, I'll stop.
So yeah, I can believe Chip Roy. There was
Okay.
also somebody named fucking Khaleesi, and
In your grade already?
Literally-
Those
not
are
in
book
my
readers.
grade.
Those are
Not
book
in my
readers.
grade. Not in my grade. But she was in my school named Khaleesi. Okay.
Oh my god.
The Republican of Texas responded to her late on Friday on X, saying that he was, quote, deeply concerned about the incoming flights and was making inquiries. Ms. Loomer said she spoke with Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Friday. Yeah, they
Wait,
spoke.
Chip Skylark.
Wink. My shiny teeth and me.
Da-na-na, my shiny teeth and me.
That is who Chip Skylark is, right?
True,
it's that
yeah.
character from Fairly
Wait,
Odd
that means
Parents.
his
Okay.
real name is Charles Skylark. What a fucking name.
No, his real name is Chip, I think.
No, that one is Chip.
Well, we don't have a Wikipedia page to confirm, so we should not assume it's anything other than Chip.
I'm gonna actually go to the Fairly Odd Parents wiki real quick. You keep talking.
You're not going to get any
Chip.
more information than what we know from the episode. Miss
Um,
Loomer, and even if you have some fucking producer or director who is like, oh yeah, his name is actually Charles, that's not canon. That's
no,
them fucking
oh my
inserting
god,
that.
he has an official name. His official name is Chippington Charles Henry Icarus Phineas Chip Skylark III. His first
Wow.
name is Chippington.
You should probably bookmark that so you, like, you know, if you ever have a kid, just like baby name ideas, you don't forget. That's a
Chippington
really, really
Charles
good
Henry
choice.
Icarus Phineas Chip Skylark III. Holy shit. There's a wiki for everything.
So, Ms. Loomer said she spoke with Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Friday night to alert him to the fights and what she called the threat of an Islamic invasion. So again, kids coming over here to receive medical treatment.
Islamic
That's,
invasion.
Yeah, the scourge of Islamic invasion, you guys.
Reverse the roles. Imagine this were black individuals from Africa attempting
Okay.
to get medical treatment. Would you ever call it an African invasion? A black invasion?
No, but
We
these
never
people
did it.
would.
They would. Yeah.
It's not above.
Yeah.
It's not above these people to do that. What is it? Yeah, this is where he talks about it's not just kids or whatever. It's also other people or whatever.
Mm.
It's also Hamas members.
Mm.
Okay, but that's what's what on this
Yeah.
on the fucking.
Well, it's that was a story based on a story, right? How do we get there?
We got there from I don't even know. We went from the State Department, the Israel thing being completely whitewashed, to you bringing, and then like we started with Alexandra, that Israeli official that's been let out and is back in Israel, even though he's accused of fucking around with a minor or whatever,
Oh,
or
right,
attempting
yeah,
to.
yeah.
And then
All
this
that stuff.
But
Well-
this was my other. Wait, this was my other article. So Huckabee did an interview with the Times of Israel with David Horowitz. Okay, we love
This
David
guy's
Horowitz.
a crazy person. This guy's an insane person. And you shouldn't wear an Apple Watch if you're a State Department official.
Why not?
It looks.
I mean, nobody should be
Doesn't look
photographed
classy.
in
You should have a
an
nice
Apple
watch.
Watch. You look like a spy kid. You should take it off. If you're photographed, especially if you're at a formal event,
you look like
and
a
you're photographed in
spy
it?
kid.
yes, look at him. It looks fucking ridiculous. He's in a suit and he's got the fucking Apple Watch on.
Okay,
Spy kid.
I'll never wear my Apple Watch again. I have to get
Not
the real
for
one.
a photo, but or at a
used to have
formal
a nice
event. Honestly,
watch.
you'll live if you don't close your rings for that day or whatever. You'll be fine.
I want to close my rings though.
There's no way you're closing your rings.
Hey, fuck Fuck you.
Oh, sorry. Are you? Are
Every
you closing
now and
them?
then I close them. I try to close
How
them.
often? How often?
We're not doing this. Just press
And
play.
which one?
Just
You
press
closed
play.
the standing one too.
Just
I don't
press
believe
play.
it.
Just press play. All right, just press play.
I'm not pressing play on anything. This is an article.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
So desperate to say the title of the
I'm
name
not
of this
desperate.
fucking
I'm not
podcast,
desperate at
even
all.
though
No
Silly
one's
Sears
desperate.
already said, cut it out with that shit.
All
It's
right.
too forced.
Okay, yeah, it's not forced.
Huckabee, with Palestine state move, UK and France have joined forces with Israel's enemies. U.S. ambassador hits back at growing denunciations of Israel's Gaza policies, rejects reports of high death tolls around aid sites, denies Bibi Netanyahu deliberately is prolonging the war. So this came out August 13th of this month. And there are different points where David Horowitz tries to, I wouldn't say bait, but tries to kind of ask leading questions or challenge him to kind of offer up any sort of substantial criticism or even just modest criticism of Israel, and Huckabee will not fucking do it.
He is
So hold on.
he is an insane person, and he's our
Yeah.
ambassador to Israel. To give you a sense of what when they were considering the Iranian strikes on Fordo and the nuclear sites, Mike Huckabee released a text or something that he had sent Trump, which was like, "You were designed by God for this moment." And we it was the most unhinged message of all time. Speaking of which, by the way, speaking of the ICJ, I think we referenced the ICJ as well in South Africa. I know that you're probably aware of this. There was a judge from the ICJ, I think from Uganda.
Sebitude.
Yeah, who basically
Name.
said
Yeah,
something
she's like an insane like Christian evangelical
God
who's like
is-
the end times are fucking near. Like most of her like opinion was fucking plagiarized. And she was like the lone person that had like not joined the opinion of other justices in the court for a thing related to Israel.
Yeah, so there's
and,
a lot
like,
of this like religious fervor going on in on every side.
Yeah, the influence of Christian Zionism should not be like understated. These people are ideologically committed to this project, and the APAC money honestly is just kind of like a nice little perk, but that is first and foremost the thing that's like driving them.
I
to
just don't
support
understand why
this.
she would say, I want to be on the right side of history if you're trying to bring about the end times. Aren't you trying to end history if you're trying to bring about the end? Like, what sense is that?
They believe that like if the rapture occurs that like Jesus is going to kill all those in Israel and like everybody else
It's going to
is
be the end of the
have
world. It's
salvation.
end times. There's no more history after that. I don't know why you'd want to be on the right side of history when history's over, because the world is ended.
They're going to heaven forever and ever.
Okay, so I guess you have unlimited history? All right.
Are they going to be saved? They're going to be in paradise.
No one's going to remember this judge infinity from now.
The Times of Israel. It seems that almost all of the world has turned against Israel, incredibly, since October the 7th, with the exception of the United States. How worried are you, as somebody who loves this country, who is the ambassador here, for the very future survival of Israel? Huckabee. I'm not as worried about its survival because I feel like there is something bigger with Israel's survival than any geopolitical consideration. What does he think that is? He literally thinks it's like a divine mandate thing. But I'm worried very much that people
Wow,
who claim
yeah.
to be part of Western civilization do not see their connection to Israel. It should be pretty obvious to them that there is a value system upon which Israel was founded, the same value system upon which the United States was founded, and quite frankly, the same value system that most of the European nations are supposedly founded upon. So what has happened to them? I don't understand, and it's a head scratcher for me. See, they'll admit this, they'll literally say this, but then when you try to characterize Israel's formation as a colonial venture and talk about how Herzl was literally inspired by Cecil Rhodes and other famous colonizers, and that was what he was attempting to replicate and do in the Middle East, but with Israel, they will deny that it was a colonizing venture. Even Benny Morris says it wasn't.
So Huckabee is, by saying we have the same set of principles undergirding our founding, either it's a reference to some kind of ethnic nationalism, which I don't think is correct.
Or maybe like principles of the Enlightenment.
Maybe principles of enlightenment and Republican forms of government.
Judeo-Christian values is what they always say.
Probably, yeah.
So maybe they distinguish between Israel, the state, the country, the people, and Israel, the government. And they're saying the British, the French, you're hearing this and you're responding to it. We can't be supportive of this government. It is doing terrible things. We were very sympathetic after October the 7th, but the behavior since is unacceptable. To that, I would say, look, it's perfectly acceptable to be in disagreement with the policies of any government, whether it's the Brits or the French or whatever. I regularly disagree with some of those governments, but I wouldn't turn my back on them when they're under siege. You don't do that to friends. You just don't do that to your friends.
Sometimes you do have to stand up with friends and say, like, I can't help you on this path. And this is not
That's
good.
what Pete Buttigieg said. He
Yeah.
said, when your friend's in trouble, aka they're committing a genocide, you just put your arm around them and you're like, no, I'm here for you. And what Pisco's saying right now is that if he even had a friend who killed just one person allegedly,
That's all it would.
he would open his arms
Hey,
to them
buddy.
and bring them into a warm embrace and say, let's talk about this.
Let's talk about this, bud.
So of course, naturally, if they were accused of intentionally killing over 100,000 people,
Be like, hey, relax, guy. Look over here. You don't need to do
the
this.
red carpet would be rolled out.
Yeah.
And if you do have a disagreement with them, you bring it to them quietly. You don't hang them out to dry in a public forum. You just don't, you don't join with them and aid and abet. I know. I was like, this is like presupposing that they weren't trying to do this the entire time, and that this was like a last resort. You don't aid and abet their sworn adversaries.
Your video just went. Oh, you're back. Sorry.
Those who are trying to kill them, who literally are trying to kill them, he's like, has reality inverted, but whatever. You would pursue that through some diplomatic channel and with some circumspection.
They were super circumspect for 2 years? They've been super circumspect. Yeah.
They still are being circumspect. They're not like condemning them or whatever.
UK's taking an interesting tack, which I think is going to be hated by everyone, or is probably going to be hated by everyone. You better cause a ceasefire, otherwise we'll recognize the state of Palestine, which is just like a weird conditionality there. But yeah, even that is like a statement of trying to entice you to do the right thing and to have a ceasefire.
You don't go and make some profound decision that you're going to unilaterally recognize as a Palestinian state, which is in and of itself provocative. But even more so in light of the fact that Hamas is holding hostages and celebrating these announcements. Secretary of State Rubio said last week, which I thought was quite accurate, that those public declarations by the French and the Brits about intending to recognize Palestine ended negotiations with Hamas, just destroyed it. That was it. That was the end of it. Because they looked at it and they said, we're winning. This is great. The result of October 7th is going to be a Palestinian state.
Yeah. On that, we've had multiple ceasefires that... or attempted ceasefires, and I think for each agreement, Israel has in advance stated that they're not going to keep to it, or they're not going to proceed to the second part of the agreement, or that they've changed their conditions. So one of their conditions was Hamas can't govern Gaza. I think Hamas said they would be willing to accept that.
They needed to disarm. The leaders needed to be exiled. They needed to there were these preconditions. The hostages needed to be released all at the beginning, which Hamas no longer wants to do because of the previous ceasefire. They did that at the beginning, and then as soon as they got the hostages back, they resumed. They broke the ceasefire and resumed hostilities. So what the fuck is the point? So Hamas said, okay, next time we do a ceasefire, it's going to be over a period of X number of days in the double digits, like 90 days, and there's going to be 3 phases. Some hostages at the beginning, in the middle, and then towards the end, as a security guarantee that you're actually going to adhere to the ceasefire, because they have no other way to guarantee it. What do they have?
Yeah. Well, I want to be clear about where I stand. I think Hamas should unilaterally surrender. That is my position. But I think that even in Israel, you're seeing the kind of backlash to the hard line that Netanyahu is trying to drive here. And by hard line, I mean, it's assuming that they even have any intention that they want the hostages back, or that they have any desire to do that, or that that's their main goal. I saw, do you know this guy, Ryan Mc something?
Yes, unfortunately.
Why do you say unfortunately?
Because he was lying. He was trying to act like, he said that Haaretz has the same credibility as a satirical tabloid akin to The Onion, which is not true. Haaretz is reliable, has high credibility and high factuality by any metric. It's basically the paper of record in Israel. Even if I do acknowledge that it is more it's further left than the average Israeli certainly is. Okay, but the reporting is solid. For one. For two, he suggested that the Hannibal Directive is like a made-up thing in people's imaginations and not a thing that the Israeli government has recognized and has admitted exists and was used on October 7th and killed 12 people. There are conspiracy theorists that think that the majority of people on October 7th were killed by Israel's friendly fire using the Hannibal Directive. There's no evidence for that. It could come to light. I don't see it coming to light. Right now, that's the conspiracy, right? But he was saying that the Hannibal Directive itself, he was suggesting that it was like fake. It's not fake.
Yeah, well, Macbeth said something like that it's very, very, very likely that those hostages are going to die. That is the 20 or so reported that are still living. And that's like part of the reason why I think there's this growing outcry in Israel against what's going on, because they know that the war aim of ending Hamas forever is incompatible with the war aim of bringing the hostages who are alive back home, and obviously the bodies of those who are dead. And so yeah, so I at this point, I'm not sure what the long-term strategy is, other than what the worst accusers of Israel are saying, which is ethnic cleansing and genocide. I mean, what is left at this point? Anyway,
They don't really care about the hostages. Like
well,
2 days after October
do you think
7th,
they don't care
Hamas
about
said you
them,
can
or do
have
you
all
think-
of the hostages in exchange for not
you don't
invading
really believe
into
they
the
don't
Gaza
care,
Strip.
right?
And
I
they
mean,
didn't do it.
you think that they don't value them over their territorial ambitions, or what do you mean by that? That they don't care at all?
Yeah, they don't. They use them as bargaining chips in the same way that Hamas uses them as bargaining chips.
Okay. All right.
They are expendable lives as far as they are concerned.
Before we turn to her take, I do want to get to the second story that I have there.
Okay, well, wait, really quick.
Oh yeah.
So they try to frame it as like Israel is giving Hamas propaganda. That's the way that they have to frame the criticism of Israel, is that like these optically poor decisions can
That
be used by
optically they're being
Hamas, right?
stupid. It's the same kind of thing that when they criticize Trump on stuff, like the Epstein files, they're like, I do blame Trump. Trump shouldn't be giving ammunition to the left, and he should their criticism when it's cast in terms of optics and PR. You know that there's there's some beholdenness there. There's some unwillingness to do the actual substantive critique, and immediately I kind of like mistrust them.
So they put, let's talk about that site that you went to and the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation,
Yeah.
which is like, again,
Under a lot of scrutiny, a lot of debates on Piers Morgan about that.
I mean, the UN is literally referred to it as like a death trap, which is what it is. I don't know the degree to which America was involved in setting up GHF. Totally involved. It was our setup. It was an American project. This is true. Almost every day for weeks, we were told vast numbers of people were killed. Not always confirmed. We don't know who by. That's not true. The army acknowledged opening fire in some cases. That is true. I stress we're not in Gaza. At the times of Israel, we go in when the army lets us, but vast numbers of people killed every day. That's not true. I can categorically tell you, 1,000 people have been killed. It did not happen.
Wow, yeah.
They're talking about deaths, like I don't know about who died
On
or
the
whatever.
outer perimeter.
And then he says, it's very unfortunate that the Israeli army is doing crowd control around food sites and doesn't have non-lethal means. Who should do it? What we have at the GHF sites are contractors. They're armed. These are special forces veterans from the U.S. So these are highly trained special forces people that have served mostly in Iraq and Afghanistan, but they're prepared to use lethal force if necessary. Are you saying you don't need the Israeli army deployed in the way that they are nearish to the sites? No, we need them in the outer perimeters to create the access corridors.
And by the way, this is the
I just
distinction they're
wish
using
there
for
were-
PR, is this kind of nobody has died on our sites, and they're just defining where they die as being
Yeah.
off the site.
But even that's not true. But yeah, that's what they're attempting to do.
Yeah.
I just wish there were non-lethal crowd control methods being used. Don't we all?
Yeah.
We do have them. What are you going to do? Get Girl Scouts to take them in?
Yikes. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
what is there to say?
So, onto your article.
Well, now it looks flippant what I'm about to fucking bring up. But I
What,
do
the
think it's-
catfishing scam?
Come on, you spoiled it. But yeah, bring it up. The catfishing.
Okay, the catfishing
yeah.
scam.
Read it.
This is what being a male feminist does to a motherfucker.
Okay,
We're gonna
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about this, okay? The catfishing scam putting fans and female golfers in danger. This was reported August 15th. So you want to
Atlantic,
give a little
yes.
overview over why you selected the story? 'Cause I don't know anything about it.
Because I picked this story because there is this creation of reality that is existing with greater amounts of technical fidelity with like AI and stuff. And there's a kind of now, I think, online parasociality that has engulfed many individuals. And this is, I think, at the intersection of that and the kind of scamming schemes that people are delighted by or / are worried about.
Isn't that a bit redundant?
What?
Scamming schemes?
Scamming schemes? No, a scam
little
is
bit.
a scheme. A scheme is like organizations that are dedicated to these kinds of scams. And anyway, the reason I'm talking about this is one, because I think it's a little funny, but it's also sinister, low-key sinister. And it's going to happen with more regularity now that we have these different tools. And I think it's relevant to the present moment politically because we are dealing with individuals, millions of whom live in different realities than we do. Like the MAGA cultists, the people who believe in critical pedo theory, in my opinion, they're living in different realities. And so that's why I think I was attracted to the story. But
And why shouldn't they believe in critical pedo theory when the human rights reports coming out of the
Okay.
Trump State Department literally exclude
I'll grant
documenting child sexual abuse and exploitation?
I'll grant 20% of the critical pedo theory. The source of this article is The Atlantic, but it was posted on the New York Times, I think. I don't know why that is, but yeah.
Okay. So
read
meet
it?
Rodney Ricklett, Indiana native, 62 years old, big golfer, a huge fan of the LPGA. On August 4th, Rodney opened an Instagram account with the handle @LPGA Fanatic 6512, and he quickly followed some verified accounts for female golfers and a few other accounts that looked official. Within 20 minutes of creating his account and with 0 posts to his name, Rodney received a message from what at first glance appeared to be the world's #2 ranked female golfer, Nelly Korda. Hi, handsome face. I know this is like a dream to you. Thank you for being a fan. Read a direct message from @Nelly Korda official fan page 2. Okay. I mean, why does it characterize this as like it appears to actually be her when like even the handle says it's a fan page?
Okay, but it's
Hi,
talking as
handsome
though
face.
it's talking as though it's Nelly Korda.
Okay, but you'd have to be a moron to fall for this. Or 62 years old. I can see
reading.
where this is going. The real
Keep
Nelly
reading.
Korda was certainly not. I am. Shut the fuck up. Was not messaging Rodney, and Rodney doesn't actually exist. The Athletic created the Instagram account of the fictitious
I'm
middle-aged
sorry,
man
not
to
The Atlantic,
testify.
The Athletic. My bad. It's The Athletic.
The Athletic.
Okay, my bad. Sorry.
The Athletic created the Instagram account of the fictitious middle-aged man to test the veracity and speed of an ever-increasing social media scam pervading the LPGA. The gist of the con goes like this. Social media user is a fan of a specific golfer. Scam account impersonating that athlete reaches out and quickly moves the conversation to another platform like Telegram or WhatsApp to evade social media moderation tools. Scammer offers a desirable object or experience, a private dinner, VIP access to a tournament, an investment opportunity, for a fee. Untraceable payments are made via cryptocurrency or gift cards. Then, once the spigot of cash is turned off, the scammer disappears. While this particular con is not limited to golf, player agents, security experts, and golfers say is that it has taken off within the LPGA in the last 5 years. Charlie Holt, Lexi Thompson, Michelle Y. West, Morgan Pressler, Jennifer Kupcho, Hannah Gregg, and Korda have all publicly posted warnings about the scams to their followers. Golf influencers Paige Spiranek and Haley Ostrom have also spoken out. It's been taken out of my hands when being able to communicate freely with fans, Korda, who has a warning statement pinned to the top of her Instagram profile, told The Athletic, because I really don't know their intentions.
Keep reading. This
On
is
a handful
crazy.
of occasions... What?
So if you're gonna come down, you guys are gonna drop your. I dropped my entire face dropped when I heard this, but keep going.
On a handful of occasions...
Hey, are you there? Testing? 1, 2, 3. Oh no. You guys can still hear me though, right? You there? Do not redeem. Do not redeem. Okay, we're just gonna wait. Did she F? Is her stream F?
wanted to kind of confront
Whoa,
the athlete over the theft.
whoa. Are you there?
Oh, shoot.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, hold on. It's attempting to
me.
reconnect. Okay, I should be back.
Are you back?
Yeah, can you like hear the thunderstorms going on?
No.
Yeah,
I
well, there's
did.
like really,
I
really
did
bad.
for a little bit. No, I actually did. I did. Yeah.
That's thunder that's happening.
Wow. Okay. Wait.
So.
Can you scroll back up because we missed everything? So I want you to read on a handful of occasions.
Okay. On a handful of occasions, the victims of the scams have continued to blame the golfer for their financial losses, even after being confronted with the truth, and some simply refuse to believe they have not been interacting with the real athlete, tipping into fixated behavior that concerns golfers and security officials. We've definitely had people show up at tournaments who thought they had sent money to have a private dinner with the person.
They show up
said
to
Scott
tournaments.
Stewart.
So they show up to tournaments. But okay, the guy keeps going.
That's so insane, man. Especially after you realize you've been ripped off, like there's literally no point in like going to this or whatever.
So they go to the tournament to be like, hey, you ripped me off, you stole from me, because they actually think the athlete like stole money from them. Start from last May. This is insane.
Where's last May? Last May, a Pennsylvania man in his 60s drove 4 hours to Liberty National Golf Club in Jersey City, New Jersey, for the Mizuho America's Open. He was there to meet 22-year-old American golfer Rose Zhang. He had told tournament staff that she had left a VIP package for him and even booked him a hotel room. He said they'd been communicating on social media for over a year, during which he had sent her around $70,000.
Oh,
Zhang's agent confronted the man,
God.
breaking the news that he was not communicating with
Can you imagine giving $70,000 to some shitbag who's claiming to be Roseanne. And like, what is going on? What is happening?
I mean, I have known, I have a family member that has fallen for a similar thing and sent an exorbitant amount of money to a stranger, but not with this scam.
But like, what even is the logic there? You need to send them money to what? To prove yourself?
Because he obviously thinks that they're like falling in love. Why is this woman? He's convinced he's talking to this young athlete who he's probably attracted to, and she's wealthy, has all of this name recognition. She's telling him everything he wants to fucking hear, and she's booking him hotel rooms.
Crazy.
It's not even like he had to do it. Like, there's some arrangement. There is some money being put back into the scheme to give the appearance that it's legit.
Oh my god.
Right? Is it really that crazy for you that somebody would fall for this?
$70,000. That's just, I don't know what to say about that.
Especially, again, like a man in his 60s. That's why I said I know what happened here when, as far as we knew, it was an actual 62-year-old man setting up the account and getting these messages like you fell for a phishing scam.
Have you ever fallen for AI? Have you been like Chris?
No.
you
No.
know. Chris
I have. I've also
Cuomo?
had family members fall for those texts from the USPS saying we have your package and we're holding it. Give us information surrounding it or whatever. I had a friend who fell for fake student loans.
Wow.
She had her identity stolen because she gave them her social security number. I know that people fall for these things.
Did you see Chris Cuomo when he added AOC? Wait, I actually want to get
And the deep fake thing.
Chris Cuomo fell for this deep fake. Hang on, Chris Cuomo
And didn't apologize.
and did not apologize. But it is there will become a time when we're like, you will become old enough that you will fall for one of these AIs, I think.
It's not about age because people of varying ages can fall for these things. It's the same way that a lot of the people who fall for MLMs are actually pretty young.
That's
They
true.
fall for pyramid schemes and stuff. They're just predatory practices and scams that anybody, if they're not informed about the way the scam works, can accidentally fall for. There's other ones where somebody thought that, like, their boss messaged them and they said, like, hey, this is your boss. I know I don't usually text from this number, but this is a new phone or something like that. I really need you to get gift cards. Can you please go do it or whatever? Like, we'll reimburse you with the company card. We're having this thing later this week. And it sounded totally legit. And this person went and got, like, the gift cards or whatever, and then realized, oh, that wasn't actually my boss. They never actually confirmed their name. They're just speaking to me so naturally that I got the impression that it was them.
I just sent you the tweet of, so this is what Chris Cuomo fell for. Now, Chris Cuomo says he didn't just retweet it without looking at it, which, you know, that would be one
Sure
thing.
did.
But this is, by the way, the video actually says that this is AI, so just keep that in mind. So the video says it's labeled as a parody, but press play. This is what Chris Cuomo claims that he thought was real and that he fell for.
Sydney Sweeney looks like an Aryan goddess, and the American Eagle Jeans campaign is blatant Nazi propaganda. I mean, fuck. Watching that sultry little temptress squeeze into a Canadian tuxedo, 3 sizes too small, with her bouncy little fun bags on the screen staring at you, piercing through the core of your soul with those ocean blue eyes that could resurrect the Fuhrer from his grave in Argentina,
Oh my God.
is something that should alarm every American citizen, because in America, beauty is not defined by whiteness. Oh no, it is defined by the number of victim groups of which you are a member. Skinny, attractive, blonde-haired, blue-eyed cisgender women descend from the slave daddy oppressors of this nation. And any man who cranks one out while thinking about a woman like this
Cranks
probably
one
hates
out.
Black people, probably hates gay people, and they certainly hate the diversity of our great nation. So I say, instead of simping for the Sydneys, we should be celebrating the Shaniquas. Instead of worshiping the hot, straight blonde, what about the obese alphabet, people with blue hair? They need love too. And to all the haters who say companies that go woke, go broke, I'd rather be poor than a fucking Nazi.
So
Yeah,
Chris
she said
Cuomo,
fuck on the Senate
she
floor
said
or whatever.
fuck. So Chris Cuomo, he could have said, yeah, I just retweeted this without looking. That's not what he said. He said, I fell for this AI. He said that he fell for it.
Somebody put, I tried to teach my parents about AI and it was crazy how much they believed. I feel bad for old people trying to navigate the internet. No, really, like a lot of people's parents, like we're not talking about boomers anymore. We're talking about, I guess this would be Gen X, right? Like Gen X parents.
Yeah, I think it'll be Gen X parents.
That fall for like AI slop, or they just love it. They love weird AI shit.
They love AI. It's like,
But Jesus.
it's so crazy he fell for that. There used to be like apps where you could talk into something, like young apps.
There are apps like that still.
And that it would say what you just said back, but like funnier. It would just be like a funny version of your voice. And there's
I thought you were talking about the like celebrity AI ones where you can have a conversation like.
No,
with...
I mean those like old apps that had like a character on it where you would record something into it.
Oh, I know you like a cat or like a cartoon dog or whatever. Yeah.
The Gen Xers loved that shit. Or like they would just be so fascinated. They would do it for hours.
I know.
Just like, oh, what an app, and like they would just be totally in love with it. Just saying. Talking Tom, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, Talking Tom. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Another man traveled from Asia to a tournament in the U.S. believing he was married to one of the players. How can you not understand that this is clearly these people developing a parasocial relationship with, they believe it's a celebrity. A 68-year-old man from California attended several tournaments to see South Korean golfer In-ji Chun after being duped out of $50,000. England's Charlie Hull warned her followers on Instagram about the scam after an incident in a tournament in 2024. And in January, a man showed up at the at the home of golf influencer Haley Ostrom after losing $50,000 to an account impersonating her. And she must answer, Haley herself personally.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, it's I wonder if they realizes like she didn't rip me off, but like somebody pretending to be her ripped her off. But if you know that it's a scammer, why would you approach the actual person and think that they're going to be able to help you, or they're in any way responsible for helping you?
Yeah, I don't know, but like the economics of it, it still makes sense for the scammers to do this, because like imagine you only get one catch every 30 days. That's still a shit ton of money, like for people overseas scammers. If you make $50,000 off of
70,000 or
70,000, like,
well, it's not all at once. It's not all at once.
These
are kind of like the upper limits of it, that it could get to that point. And you can see, like again, they've been involved with these people. They didn't do it all at once because that would obviously raise suspicions immediately that they're asking for transfers of money that are, in excess of like $500 or whatever. It probably starts off as like almost like microtransactions, and it gradually scales up. But Spiranek said the reaction from some of the scam victims has forced her to change the way she works and lives. She now has security at every event, has an active restraining order against one of the scammed individuals. And when fan behavior escalates because of a scam, flare-ups as she calls them, she has chosen to skip events for some events for her safety. I've had people come up to me at events, at outings, say they're in a relationship with me, or they come up quite angry because fake me has scammed them out of money or has ghosted them. Spiranek said, those experiences are quite scary, but it's also very invasive.
It reminds me of the Pokimane. Do you remember Pokimane? Pokimane had had like a similar. I think she had a similar situation.
It was like a guy who was like, she's in love with. She's my secret girlfriend or something like that.
Guys, she loves me.
And I'm gonna go meet her.
We're just gonna meet her and get married. I have the rings with me right here. Yeah, I remember that shit.
Don't act like you haven't fallen for an account posing as Pokimane and thought that she was in love with you. Come on.
Well, she does love me.
I could see you falling for something like this.
Why? Do you think I'm that?
Have you ever fallen for a scheme?
Let me think.
Anything. Herbalife, any MLM, any phishing scheme, an email thing.
No. So one time I failed some organizations will hire like other firms to do fake fishing expeditions.
Yeah.
And so one of my jobs, it didn't actually affect anything negative. It was either my university or it was like a fake phishing attempt that I fell for, but it wasn't a real one. Does that make sense? Like I clicked the link that I shouldn't have clicked, but I've been really good about that.
You didn't know that it was fake until you clicked on it.
I wasn't thinking at the time, and this is back before I had best practices.
Okay, so there's a basis for me thinking that you could potentially be.
Pokimane thinking like she's gonna send me like fall in love with me. Come on, do you think I would fall for that shit? This is ridiculous.
You protest too much.
No, this is just you. This is
you freaking out over this.
Dude. Me clicking something like a Google link to be like someone created a fake reality, going to a fucking golf game, demanding payment of $50,000 because I thought that this fake golfer was
But
the real person.
you're not just anyone. You're Pisco's hour.
Yeah, I
okay,
am.
and a lawyer.
Yeah.
Ladies love these things.
They do love
So
it.
can't you see Pokemon sliding into your DMs and being like, "Of course, Pokemon would talk to me." Like your
No?
like
Are
brain
you
wouldn't think
insane?
that. No.
Are you insane? Are you fucking insane?
Oh, okay,
Are you
okay.
crazy?
You don't believe in yourself that much, I guess.
I'm not
Okay.
saying no, but there would be no reason. There's just no reason for that. Like,
I already said lawyer, famous Twitch streamer Pisco. Hello.
I'm not famous. No one knows who I am. Anyway.
All you need, it only matters if Pokemon knows who you are. Or Amaranth, or who name some other e-girls or whatever.
I met Amaranth on stream at the election stream, and
There you go. There you go.
So there's some basis there. Maybe if she messaged me and be like, "Hey, I met you, and this is kind of weird, but can you send me $600?" No, but I would question that. I would know it's not the official account because it wouldn't have the check mark. Come on.
Okay. All right, her take.
Let's do it.
Let's do her take. Shoot. I keep doing this. I have to realize that if you X out of the tab that you're on with Riverside, it just closes it
No worries.
entirely.
It happens. We're just getting used to the new system.
Oh, look at her face.
Oh,
She's
look
so
at her. This is a beautiful smile.
She's glowing.
She is glowing this week. She's looking great. I always start with such positive feelings towards these ladies, and it takes 2 minutes for me to be fucking pissed. But I'm going to really try to stay positive initially.
Lovely.
All right, everybody, welcome to Her Take. We are incredibly
Wait,
excited
did
to
you
welcome
skip the
Kaizen
intro?
Asiadu. How'd I do? Did I get it right?
Yeah.
8 out of 10.
It took a
This is the intro. This is the intro.
Oh,
It was a
this
live
guy.
episode, and they didn't do the clip compilation at the beginning.
This guy. This is like some Twitter lord.
Is he?
He's like some Elon Stan Twitter lord.
Love that. Very excited then.
like
The common good comments, is Jillian going to try to clean up her running cover for slavery CNN spot? Did we
That
do that
comes
last
up.
week?
So
Did we do that last week? I think
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Do it for me, please.
Kaizen Asiadu.
Asiadu, damn it. Anna could have done it better. Welcome to the show.
Is
Your
Anna not
list
there?
of accomplishments is staggering.
No,
We're
she's
all
there.
so excited to have you here. Okay, I have to read it because it's such a long list.
He's just a
So,
Twitter lord, right?
You're a Harvard grad, educated in philosophy, turned Emmy-winning
Excuse me, he's a Harvard grad,
Oh.
educated in philosophy, turned
All right.
Emmy-winning
producer
something.
who helped bring global sports events like the Mid-Season Invitational and the World Championship to life at the Riot Games. But in 2020, you walked away from that to focus on a career of personal transformation, coaching, and cultural commentary, which is where Amy first learned about you and fell in love. Since
Fell
then,
in
you've built your
love.
following on your sharp, non-partisan takes that challenge tribal thinking, which is where I personally
Surely this man is nonpartisan, which is why he's being welcomed on her take and not definitely a
He's a
centrist,
huge-
a conservative hack posing as a fucking centrist.
He's a huge hack.
fell in love with you. And we've all seen you on Piers Morgan, Uncensored, in viral clips across all forms of social media. Your coaching work and speaking work.
Okay, wait.
What?
Is Jillian at the beginning
no!
giving this a little bit?
No. Okay, a little bit. Who sent you this?
Don't worry about it.
We can find you at Kaizen Asiadu and the clearthinkeracademy.com for more. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. All right, guys. Today
We need to show up
it's
on
an
this fucking
electric
show.
We're going to be diving into everything from the federal takeover
This is probably going to be the best episode in a while.
All right, let's watch.
of DC.
Because I was seeing clips on Twitter of Anna being like, Trump wants peace when it comes to Putin and
Enemy,
Russia, Ukraine. I
enemy.
saw her talking shit about homeless people.
Yeah. She loves doing
Trump's citywide sweep of the homeless tent camps, tunnels under the Smithsonian, my insane appearance on the Abby Phillips show, why Nick Fuentes is suddenly throwing shade at Tucker and Candace, and of course, what we know so far regarding Trump's meeting with Putin. So we're going to start with a big one, DC policing. Part one of the story is about how we got here, why the Trump administration decided to federalize the Metropolitan Police, so what led up to it, and how a city that's home to Congress, the White House, and the Supreme
Pause.
Court ended up
Why
with
don't
crimes
they
that-
have a teleprompter? If you're just going to be reading from something, why don't
We're
you
not
have a
repeating this
teleprompter?
discourse. I don't care that you fucking hate that she uses a fucking iPad. You complain about it every week. It's stale by this point, okay? Get new criticisms of the set. Get new criticisms of their setup, okay?
Why is she wearing a Hillary Clinton blazer?
She's a girl boss. Always the Hillary Clinton blazer and the fucking beachy waves, man.
Yeah.
It's her signature look.
Bad that even people with, let's say, tough reputations and big balls are getting assaulted. So, Lindy, you are up.
Well, this is one of the most controversial stories
her.
coming out of this week.
I hate her so
President
much.
Trump has issued an executive
Do you think that she should be deported to China?
No, I think she should go to prison right here for libel.
order to basically, he's trying to federalize Washington, D.C. They have a Home Rule Act that passed in 1973, but he's saying that he has the power to take over the city and to help bring down crime. I do want to say that he may not go to the extent that he wants to because Republicans do not have the votes necessary in the Senate for him to fully do this.
I mean, all she said so far is he certainly does have the power to do this thing. It cannot be denied that he technically can do this.
Well, no, she said
But there have been-
she can't go that as far as he wants to because of the Senate. Like that's gonna try. Like he's gonna do what he
Trump
wants.
ignores like the courts. He
Yeah.
fucking ignore like his own judges making decisions and injunctions. Like what's to stop him?
Yeah.
Howls of protest, not only in DC, but around the country. Allegations of racism, allegations of bias, that he's clamping down on a city with a significant Black population. And I do want to address right off the bat some of the strongest arguments against what he's doing, which I think are ultimately hollow. For example, one of the most frequently brought up arguments is that crime is at a 30-year low. Okay, let's talk about that.
Right.
But crime was historically ubiquitous. Crime has been so high that even if it did come down in recent years, since the pandemic, for instance, it's still remarkably high because our
But that's not his argument, and that's not what they're saying. They are
Right.
not saying this explanation of the crime stats to justify martial law. They're literally pointing to fucking big balls getting assaulted or whatever
Right.
as like a reason why.
It's their right stock fire. It really is their right stock fire. Like Big Balls got beat up by some 15-year-olds. We condemn it. We don't agree with it.
So high or low, this is gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean,
This is not about anything related to like crime statistics.
they
That was a
wanted to do
convenient
this.
excuse.
Yes, they wanted to do this.
baseline was that high. So please do not gaslight us about that. And also,
Okay.
my co-host Anna brought up a really good point the other day. Someone in the a commissioner, a police commander, was actually suspended because she was cooking the numbers.
Yes, it was actually Michael Pullman from the Metropolitan Police
DC police commander suspended, accused of changing crime stats. Police union says directive to change offensive classifications comes from command staff.
Department.
I guess we don't need to look past the headline for this.
I would like to read it, but anyway, many such cases. If you watch The Wire, if you ever watch The Wire, there are incentives for police to cook the books and to change certain classifications to make it look like the stats are right. Like the one of the big themes of The Wire is this kind of game within the game and this need and desire to like push the stats off often. So I mean, it doesn't surprise me that a police
They want them
officer
to go
do
up
that.
or down.
That they want them to crime to go down, and so they reclassify stuff or as needed.
been placed on leave pending an investigation that he had essentially manipulated the crime numbers to make it appear as though crime had gone down significantly. Now, this is the thing about crime statistics. There are all sorts of issues with methodology, and especially when the reporting requires police to submit the data because, the police department has its own interests. They want to make it appear as though they're doing a good job. They want to make the crime numbers look like it's going down because it's a reflection.
Look, you agree with Anna. Anna independently
saying that
arrived at the same
I'm just
explanation
saying-
as you.
Listen, I'm just saying that
Don't you like that?
There's a known problem in policing. That's all I'm saying. It's a known problem.
Yeah, citation The Wire.
Citation
a fictional
The-
fucking story.
David Simon, The Wire. Yeah, based on a true
right.
story.
Of how well they're performing their duties, right? So I don't know how realistic the crime going down is. I don't know what the real numbers are because of this issue.
There's more to that, though.
There is.
You
So-
have something. Yeah, go.
So one other thing that I'll just say is,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like for fun, they needed to go up, and they always want like higher budgets each year, right? So I would think that there's an incentive in both directions, depending on how you argue it, that they have the incentive to kind of like overstate crime in certain areas or respects.
even if you take the current crime statistics as they're reported and you ignore the fact that this, Metropolitan Police Department official has been placed on leave, the crime statistics still are not as low as they were prior to the pandemic. And one of the areas where it hasn't gone down much is carjackings. So depending on which municipality you're talking about, in San Francisco, for instance, they don't have a problem with homicides, but they have a problem with property crime.
Oh, they haven't gone down to pre-pandemic levels? Guess we have to fucking mobilize the National Guard. Guess we have no choice but to do that.
In DC, there's a huge issue of like literally teenagers doing these carjackings and these joyrides. And I don't think the city has really gotten a handle on it. And the whole thing that kind of sparked this drama is that, that
I have a chatter saying, Pisco, let us not use 30-year-old anecdotes.
I'm just saying that there can be incentive structures to have police officers cook the books and change different classifications to get the result they want.
And his citation is The Wire.
I'm not saying that that's what happened here. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me. That's all I'm saying.
He's also just saying that The Wire is the greatest television show ever created.
It is it's an amazing show. What am I going to say?
Doge socks. Go ahead.
This guy, Michael Cristioni, aka Big Balls.
You are not watching. What are you doing?
I'm getting the Washington D.C. homicide rate. I'm trying to get stats to back it up. I'm
trying to fact check.
I'm trying to fact check.
Lindy over here.
Yes.
A former Doge staffer, was brutally assaulted in the middle of a carjacking. Actually, the Metropolitan Police was pretty effective in putting an end to it, ironically.
Okay,
yeah, they were right around the
real
corner
quick.
and they saw it all go down.
So one thing that people often do to get past the cooking the book thing is to look at murders and murder rates, because the thought process being you can't hide a body, right? You can't like downgrade murders in that way. It's not as easy to do. So I have here that in terms of homicides, right, where there's a dead body, right? The district had 274 homicides in 2023 and 187 in 2024. So it looks like the homicide rate, which I don't think will be, and is often, you can like link the homicide rates. They're linked with the other stats, violent crime. They're associated, right? Although they're not always like 1-to-1. The district had 274 in 2023, 187 in 2024. So it looked like homicide rates are coming down. But again, like, I'm not sure. Like, DC has unusually high crime compared to other states, partly because it's a district which is just a city, right? Like, in cities are places where there's higher levels of crime, and so it's not always
regardless of
right.
who governs them globally. You see that,
right? So it's not always fair to say that it's like a 1-to-1 as between DC and other states, given the fact that there's a lot less rural space in DC, and it's like all one city. It is true that DC has a problem with crime compared to other capitals. That is true, but the whole argument is this like a big spike in crime? Are we seeing unprecedented levels of crime in DC? And the answer is no.
Yeah. Like, I'm just waiting for her to bring up, this is a Democrat-run city. She's going to do it.
And so this was the impetus. My take is that Trump was probably going to do this anyway at some point down the line.
Shout out Ted History. I haven't seen you since like the fucking Prime Kai days. Shout out Ted. Sorry, go.
And this is the perfect impetus for him.
Right. Can we pull up that graphic again? I'm not sure if that was something that was displayed. Do you want to?
Yeah,
because there's something I wanted to mention.
Yes,
here.
absolutely, Amy. The White House is actually saying that he should be awarded the same exact medal as civil rights icon Rosa Parks. How do you guys feel about that?
Also, would expect there to be an increased rate of crime in an area like DC. If there's is there significant like economic inequality in DC?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Like wealthier like suburban areas, and then like literally just 5 or 10 minute walks or whatever you're in like the projects or developing areas.
Yeah, I would look it up. I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of income.
Because if you have that, you would expect there to be a higher crime rate than the typical city or whatever, because that contributes to it.
Yeah, DC has crime. It's just the argument is it's not some big spike in crime that's unprecedented, and you see other high crime areas in red states and across the country.
This is an incident. This is an incident where language is kind of being manipulated a little bit, though, because the medal in question that they're actually referring to here is the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's been given to a lot of people, actually. It's not a super rare medal to be able to receive. And on that note, what's
Trump
interesting
gave it
about the Rosa Parks story,
some
actually dove into
insane people. Trump gave it to Rush Limbaugh. I'm gonna get other people
Deserved.
too. You think it deserves Trump Medal of Freedom recipients?
Glenn Beck should be next, obviously.
Hang on. He tried to give
American
it to
hero.
He tried to give it to Bill Belichick of the Patriot, like
To
the
Doug
Patriots
Dimmadome?
Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. Wait, holy! He gave it to Antley posthumously. He gave it to Babe Ruth posthumously. So those aren't like the craziest. He gave a Presidential Medal of Freedom to Miriam Adelson. He gave it to Tiger Woods, to Jerry West. Those are probably deserved, right? Jerry West, Tiger Woods. I don't know. To Devin Nunes.
Well, you can tell which
Jordan.
ones are motivated by Trump's pop culture preferences, like the fucking a posthumous one for Elvis Presley, versus ones that are definitely like favors or politically motivated.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And no, here's some of Biden's recipients: Simone Biles, pretty cool.
Okay.
Steve Jobs
Deserved.
posthumously. He seemed like kind of a bad guy posthumously. I don't know. To John
Why?
McCain posthumously. I don't know. I'm talking shit. To
So like him not being there to like raise his daughter, or the fact that he's like a dumbass who fell for pseudoscience and instead of getting chemo, that means
Yeah.
that like his contributions to like tech and the iPhone, like that shouldn't factor in really.
all right, maybe it doesn't factor in.
Did you know MLK cheated on his wife?
He did. Megan Rapinoe. This is Biden, Olympic professional soccer player. If you know, you know.
Isn't it Rapinoe?
I've always said Rapinoe. You guys tell me.
Okay.
What do you guys say? Rapinoe or Rapinoe? Thank you so much for the gifted membership, Scallywag. Appreciate you. I think it's Rapinoe, Megan Rapinoe. And Michael Bloomberg. Why? Jim Clyburn. Makes sense. Al
I mean, again, you
Gore.
have to remember that like Biden was like proud to speak at like Strom Thurmond's like funeral. So he had many friends across the aisle. So I like some of these really won't like surprise me.
Medgar Evers.
Well, you can't handle that.
posthumously.
That's the fucking case. You know that's right. That's
Okay.
He was like friends with an arts segregationist and
Okay.
defended him until he fucking died.
All right. John Kerry.
Why are you uncomfortable by that?
I'm not uncomfortable.
Why are you like? Why are you telling me chill? Why are you telling me
I
chill?
said chill.
When
That's
I'm
what I
bringing
say.
up things that are part of
I say what
Biden's
I say.
record.
I say what I say because I say it.
Biden simp.
not
Maybe
a
you're a
Biden
Biden
simp.
dead ender like Wick.
I'm not. You're a Biden dead. Medal of Freedom. He played soccer here for and is playing soccer here for all of 2 years. And he got a Presidential Medal of Freedom. And also to George Soros and Denzel Washington and Pope Francis. Thoughts?
Yeah, I love that he gave one to Soros.
He gave one to Soros. Crazy.
When I saw that they wanted to give him the same medal that she received. And this is verifiable on Wikipedia as well, by the way. Did you know that a civil rights movement targeted her and basically essentially
Yes,
asked her to ride on
Amy.
the bus every single day until an
Yes.
incident like this occurred, so that way they could kickstart the civil rights
Everyone
movement. And then
knows
they
this,
awarded her
Amy.
the medal. There was actually
Everyone knows
another
this.
woman prior to
Well, I guess she wouldn't because she wasn't educated in America. I think she was
She's an
educated in
Australian.
Australia.
She should be
that was a
sent
girl.
back
Actually. She
there.
was only 16 years old, but they were going to use.
Yeah, deported.
She's not a citizen, so it's different.
So deported.
She's not a citizen, so it's different.
Okay. So are you in support of mass deportations?
Yes.
Of people that are not, even residents, like they're completely undocumented
So what
and
if I
came here
am?
through an illegal port of entry.
So
I'm
what
asking
if I
you.
am? So what if I am?
So what exactly? I'm asking you.
So I'm asking you.
So what if you are?
So what are you? What about you though?
I'm not in favor of any of these fucking mass deportations.
So you're
Think all
saying I
these
win?
people.
So you agree with me?
Why are you being so evasive
I'm
for
not being
somebody who's
evasive.
like, so what if I am?
So what?
So just to
She doesn't know
recap,
about Rosa Parks.
you're fine
Aaron,
with
Aaron, she doesn't know
Amy
about-
being deported to
Aaron,
Australia because
Aaron,
she's not
Aaron,
a
Aaron. She had
resident
to
or
learn
she's
about
not a
Rosa
citizen
Parks, Aaron.
yet. Okay.
use. However, because she was a teen mom, they didn't think she would be the best reflection of the
exactly,
face.
because Rosa Parks is a perfect candidate for them.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
smart strategy. I mean, the civil rights movement used the strategy of nonviolence, and then when they were met with violence, it was a way of being sympathetic figures, and it got more people on their side. I actually think that was a brilliant
Exactly.
strategy.
Can you
They also
pause?
had
Can you
things
pause,
called
by the
sit-ins.
way?
They would go to a
Do
white
you remember when Anna Kasparian was like, the trans movement is unlike the civil rights movement,
which had like no
is
violence or
violent.
something like that?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, there was violence. There's some violence in any movement, but the civil rights movement is largely peaceful. And the trans rights movement, the gay rights movement is largely peaceful too. And
No, they're not. The trans rights movement is going to come to your house and the they, them mafia is going to stick a gun in your face. And if you don't use their they, them, these or pronouns, they are going to literally kill you in a video game.
they I remember that tweet. That tweet really pissed me off.
She deleted it.
Id she really? Oh, she
Yeah,
did.
she did. And not even
I
long
called
after
her
she had
on that,
posted
yeah.
it. Yeah, it was you. It was you that did
It
it.
was me. It was me who did it.
counter and then wait to get talked to.
The point-
stay here.
You were the only one that noticed that what
Me,
she
yeah.
tweeted was ahistorical. That's so
It was.
shocking.
Yeah, it was.
Because I haven't finished just laying everything out. I do want to quickly address something really important point that you brought up
Really
about
important.
police faking the numbers to make themselves look good.
Yes.
One thing that we haven't mentioned yet is the fact that they've been reclassifying crimes altogether.
Yes.
By the way,
Things that have
pause
been
real
previously
quick.
flagged as felonies are now
I just saw a recent little thing that the Justice Department is investigating Washington D.C. and the police people for the crime stats. Now, take that at we have no idea. We have no idea whether or not that is done in good faith or what happened, but I'm just telling you that they announced that they're investigating it. They're always looking for a pretext to go after people who politically are not aligned with them. And in this case, the crime stats are counter to what they want to do, and so that's why they're investigating probably. But I'm just letting you guys know that.
Demeanor, so obviously it looks like a crime drop when it actually hasn't been that way.
Can I add one more thing
Yes.
to that? So in that article you sent, Anna, the police union, the Fraternal Order of Police, claims that the practice of lessening the crimes that are put on whatever the report is a broader directive from department leadership citywide. So it's not just Pulliam.
Yeah.
And
It's nationwide.
I don't think that's cooking necessarily. It would depend on the reason for the redesignation or reclassification of a particular
We
type
need an
of crime. I
investigation.
think that
Yeah.
some crimes should probably be reclassified if they are classified as a violent crime and the nature of that crime has since changed or transformed, and that might not be the most accurate way to characterize it any longer, or vice versa. There were some things that might have been classified as misdemeanors that would now be better fit as like violent crimes.
Yeah, and
It's
if you,
everywhere.
but you have
And
any
it's a
question
symptom
about that, just look at the homicide rate. Just look at homicides or look at victimization surveys to see whether or not they align. And if because they're usually correlated, and you would expect if there's a big increase in violent crime, that there would be a big increase in homicides because they're related.
I hate to say it. I'm sorry, I got to say it. George Soros has been funding extremely leftist prosecutors around.
Presidential
George
Medal of
Soros.
Freedom recipient Soros.
Yes.
It's not just
And she just hates to say it. Lindy really,
Yeah.
really hates
Hates
to
to see
feed
that,
into this
yeah.
conspiracy theory. It pains her to do so.
DC, it's also Philadelphia, my hometown. San Francisco, actually, they
Philly.
got a slightly more conservative guy now, but Los Angeles, for instance, these people are not just soft on crime. Let me be clear. They're limp on crime. They're
They're
not
limp.
doing anything on crime.
I mean, we experienced that in LA for sure. So I know that that's been an issue. Look, the one thing I will say is I'm not one of these people who minimizes the impact of crime on neighborhoods across the country. And like I said, it
Brave
differs
queen.
depending on which municipality you're talking about. And each city has its own policing policies and their own policing reforms, right? So the question is, what can we do to solve the increase in crime?
What she considers people minimizing crime is talking about the root causes that lead to there being crime in urban areas or areas of poverty in the United States. That's not excusing crime. That's not downplaying crime. That's properly contextualizing and trying to understand why crime occurs. But again, of course, to her, that's you downplaying it.
Yeah.
In these different cities and the type of crime that's increased in these different cities. And when you go to DC and you consider the fact that these carjackings are a problem, they're carried out by groups of teenagers.
Yeah.
So the carjackings, I think, is a symptom of a deeper problem. And I don't know if federalizing the law enforcement in DC is necessarily going to solve it.
Well,
I
obviously,
wanna
they're
go-
being
I wanna go-
encouraged by people. Like, sorry,
I want to go to
I just have
guys,
30
after this. Yeah,
quick
of course,
seconds.
and then I'm going to give everybody their chance. But
Obviously, these kids are being groomed and encouraged into that by adults to carry out whatever crimes,
Exactly.
to bring back whatever stealings or winnings that they.
It's not obvious. Why would that be obvious? There's like, what evidence does she have to suggest that in the majority of instances, or that the increase in carjackings in the DC metro area specifically are the result of potentially gangs that grooming, like crime gangs grooming juveniles or young men to do this, and not just a result of the fact that, like, based off what data Anna gave, which is that it's an increase of like young men doing this or groups of young men, you would expect that's not that surprising. If it were like older people or people that fall outside of typical, like where you see spikes in crime or whatever, like who's most likely to engage in crime in the United States?
It's young people.
It's going to be younger people overall. It's disproportionately going to be men. So them doing that or the specific type of increase or whatever is like not that unusual. But to Amy, again, somebody has to be behind this. It couldn't be that just like, again, it's young men up to no good.
They get from these carjackings to the people who groom them to do this. And so imposing those strict punishments on them and federalizing doesn't address the root issue of the people who are grooming them to do it in the first place.
Organized crime. I agree with you
Exactly.
100%. Go ahead, Kaiser.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So
Organized crime exists, but it's just weird to think that behind this specific increase that there's a grooming gang that's like getting kids to carjack and then bring back the things that they find in a car.
Is he wearing makeup or
One
is it
thing I'll
just
note
really
is
hot
that-
there?
How do you mean?
Do you not understand the question?
I don't. So I just asked, how do you mean?
Do you know what makeup is?
I do know what makeup is. I'm wearing a lot right now. Why?
Do you know what it means to be sweaty?
Okay, can you just say what you're thinking?
I
What are you
said-
seeing on this man that is making you think he's wearing makeup?
I'm asking you, do you think that he's wearing makeup or is he just a little sweaty?
I don't think he's wearing any makeup, and if he were, his face wouldn't be shiny. It would probably be matte because they would have touched it up with powder, which absorbs oil.
Okay. I was asking. I don't know.
Do you think that he's wearing
I
makeup
don't
to make
know.
himself
I was
look shiny?
asking you the question.
I think this is just a black man under stage lights. And you
So,
think that
I knew
he's
you were
in
gonna do that.
makeup.
I knew you were going to do the angle. You were going to do the angle of you're racist, you're racist, you're racist. And
Who
you
said
didn't-
anything about racism?
No, you know what you're doing. This is just a black man under stage lights. You knew what you were doing
Yeah.
there.
I mean, you knew what you were doing
No,
by
I didn't.
asking if he's
No.
wearing fucking makeup,
I just
and then
asked.
me asking you to clarify, and you're getting uncomfortable.
No, I'm not uncomfortable at all. In fact, I've never been more comfortable than I am right now.
We are much more quick to react to acute solutions to chronic problems than the chronic problem itself. And what's the chronic problem? Well, our capital city, I mean, it's a district, but our capital city in America is a dump. It's degenerating. It's decaying. I just went there for the inauguration. It's gross. It's a bad look for America. And it's emblematic, actually, of the state of cities in America more generally. You know, you go to Singapore, the first place you arrive is a beautiful airport that gives you a perception like, oh, this country has it together. You go to Tokyo, there's little kids and women walking around at night alone, fine, super comfortable. You go to DC, you have to watch your back constantly. So they say, okay, well, crime is at 30 years low. Well, what's been going on for the last 50 years? For the last 50 years, crime has been on the rise. It's been too high. And even if there's been a 30% drop, as you said, Lindy, on a baseline of high crime, it's like, that's still bad. So our standards have become so low. And one of the things about chronic issues is you just get used to it. Like you just get used to your city being in decay, or homeless people and mentally unwell people on the sidewalk, or being threatened or catcalled or whatever's happening. And then when someone actually has the big balls to address the problem, then all the attention's focused on them because that's an acute thing.
But whatever. It's like this is such a fucking hair split. But like he wasn't addressing anything. He was like the victim of an attack allegedly. But this big balls guy, right?
You doubt it? You say allegedly? You doubt it?
Has it been confirmed? Has it been adjudicated in a court of law? I don't know any details surrounding it.
Well, I mean, I think he was hit. I think he was bleeding. Well, you think he did it himself? You think he's like?
Oh wait, that he did it himself? No, I don't have any evidence to think that. I don't think he staged a crime. Against himself.
I think the question isn't like, is crime bad and does DC have crime and do we want crime to be lower? The question is, do we support what the president is doing in response to it? That's I think
they have to change the conversation entirely to pretend like this is about that at all.
You guys like crime?
So if people want to protest Trump taking action here, I want to see you protest with that same energy against the complete decline of American cities.
Right.
And obviously, just federalizing DC and just addressing crime is not the only thing. Like there's socioeconomic factors, there's other things to address, but this is a start.
Yeah, that's totally and that's totally right. But they're never going to protest the decline. You know why? Because leftists run the cities and they don't want to take any responsibility.
Well, I think that is a problem. The unwilling look. Here's the problem. If you are on the left and you're offended.
Yeah, communists run Washington D.C.
They
BTW.
They do.
This is a Her Take exclusive.
By this conversation, I need you to understand: when you create a vacuum, when you deny that a problem is a problem, what does that vacuum lead to? It leads to the right coming in with their proposed solutions. So you're either part of the solution or you're not.
Also, this is just so on every.
Republicans are not contributing to a solution here. They are manufacturing a narrative to justify a takeover of DC and impose martial law. And Donald Trump has already said he wants to do this across cities in the United States.
Why doesn't Anna just come out and say, like, does she agree with it or not? I hate this kind of shit where it's just like, oh, well, you know.
Well, at least they're doing something about it. Literally, does it, like, who cares about the efficacy of it? Who cares about whether or not it's actually going to target the thing that that's what they're attempting to do? Again, they're filling in gaps here and making it up in their minds that this is about crime.
When it's not at all about crime. Yeah. You're believing them at face value that this is done as an effort to lower crime. They don't care about crime.
And she's not just explaining like, oh, this is how people, it's not like saying it's not about crime, but people will take him at his word that it is about crime, especially if they're not in the city. And here's why they're like inclined to believe him. Here's what we do about voters that are misinformed. No, she's pretty much saying that so long as the perception exists, people need to placate and pander to that. But you already see politicians doing this. Eric Adams, like crime, especially like crime on the subway, had been steadily decreasing in New York City, was at like an all-time low. And yet nonetheless, he was fear-mongering about crime on the subways because you have these anecdotes of high-profile, low-probability events.
Well, they burned a woman alive on the subway.
Right.
That was pretty bad.
But then they play into that by increasing, again, like, that's really him responding in the way that he did is honestly no different than Trump fucking declaring martial law in response to one thing, fucking big balls, right? Like big balls getting assaulted. Okay, Eric Adams like increasing the amount of police presence because one person like commits arson in the subway or whatever, even if that hasn't happened in literally decades and probably won't be replicated anytime soon. To justify an expansion of police presence based on one incident, that's not a good way to construct any policy. It's the reason why there's all this fucking scaffolding in New York City is because one woman was killed because like a brick fell and killed her, and then after that, yeah, I know I'm not denying that. I'm saying that like that's not the way that you construct policy in response to it. It's like in response to one person doing it.
One thing that's annoying is on the balconies, sometimes water gets there and mosquitoes breed in the like
in the scaffolding or what?
Yeah, like because water accumulates when it rains, and with all the scaffolding, mosquitoes can become an issue. Just saying.
And it'll never go away. I know, but I'm saying I'm criticizing there being fucking permanent scaffolding coming up. Like, I guess it's always temporary, right? Up and down, up and down, up and down. And they will never get rid of it because the industry surrounding scaffolding is too big for any New York mayor to actually run on it.
Wait,
because
really?
they will.
You sound like Dave Rubin on Joe Rogan. Oh, you can just trust the builders. The builders will tell you what to do.
What are you talking
Remember
about?
when
How the
Dave
fuck
Rubin-
do I sound like Dave? I know exactly what you're talking about. How the fuck did what I say in any way, shape, or form resemble David
We need government
Rubin?
regulation of the scaff. I don't want to get
Okay,
fucking...
I literally never argued that there shouldn't be government regulation in response to that woman dying.
just don't
I'm
want
criticizing
scaffolding?
the idea of scaffolding having to be temporarily but effectively always being built up or taken down be in response to one incident. One, that's not how you could, like, principally you shouldn't really construct policy around a single
It's to do
incident
facade
ever.
repairment. It's a local law. I forget the actual local law, but there's a local law.
Explain to me how what I said in any way, shape, or form resembles Dave Rubin.
Because he says we should just trust builders, and when the
Oh,
government
you have a terrible Dave Rubin impression. You want to answer my question?
It's pretty good. It's pretty
no,
good.
it's not.
Wait,
it's not. You want to
Why
answer
are
my
you
question?
mad? Why are you so
How did
uncomfortable?
what?
Why are you so
Why?
mad?
Because
Why are you
what did I
uncomfortable?
say
Why are
that
you
in
mad?
any way, shape? Because I'm offended that I
It's
would be
called a
compared to
bit.
Dave Rubin's
It's
comments
called a
on
bit.
Joe Rogan.
Oh, you're so offended? What? Because he's Jewish?
You are grasping at straws here.
I'm not grasping
What are
at
you
straws.
talking
You're
about?
so offended to be compared to Dave Rubin? Why?
Yeah, because of what on Joe Rogan saying that you can trust construction workers to build buildings properly and you don't need to have any sort of government regulations or building standards or codes because they want to do a good job.
Okay, you're right. Everything is right. I was just doing a bit, and you're correct, and I'm incorrect. Can we
What's the
move on?
bit? Explain
Can
it
we
to
move
me like
on?
in five.
No, I don't want to do that, actually. We can't run this show where every time you do a bit, it's like funny, but when I do a bit, I'm like the bad
Your
guy.
bits have to be funny, Pisco. That's the difference. My bits are funny. Yours are not funny. That's
I
do
think
you see the critical thing here?
I think some people like the bit. I think it's.
I think you're a dumbass, and you just said that the first thing that popped into your mind for whatever reason was like what I was saying, and then when I asked how was it like what I'm saying, you're like, no, you're triggered. No, you're triggered.
Well, it's
Because
annoying.
you can't defend it.
It's annoying when
Because
you
you
say
can't
I'm
defend
triggered
it.
on stuff just because you want to say I'm triggered because you just want to get under my skin, and I think it's a little annoying.
I do want to get under your skin. It's hilarious when I get under your skin. It's very
Never.
easy to do that, actually.
It's not actually. Actually, I'm very inflappable. I don't ever get really bothered by anything.
Not at all. No, you're known for your even-keeled temper.
Yes, I am.
Lawyers, in fact, are generally known for that, being very, very
That
level-headed.
is the
always
funniest
really,
little
really
meme, by the way.
rational.
Everyone's like, lawyers are always so calm. Like, have you seen lawyers are on cocaine? Lawyers are alcoholics. Lawyers are some of the most unhinged people that exist in society. People need to stop putting lawyers on a pedestal. A lawyer might as well just be like, I don't know, like more mentally ill than the average person. I would probably bet that. If I had to bet, I would say the average lawyer has more issues than the average human being.
So you have more issues than the average human being. Good to know.
No,
What
the
are some of
average-
those issues?
We're not talking about this. We're watching her take. This is her take.
You're the one who brought it up, that it's a funny meme that lawyers have this perception surrounding them that they're calm, and you're saying we're fucked up, we're really, really
Everyone
mentally
has a
ill,
lawyer
we're
in their
unstable,
life.
and on average we have more issues. And I'm
Who's
like, wow,
we?
that's
Who's
really
we?
interesting. What kind of issues do you have that you don't think that the general populace
I don't
has?
have any issues. I'm good. Everything's good here.
Okay, we just figured out what at least one of those issues is, okay?
What's that issue?
That you can't even be honest about the fact that you might have some issues. You have none. You're fucking perfect. That is an issue in and of itself. That's fucking egotistical, narcissistic, all sorts of
What do
words.
you think of the ADL?
Don't like them. Why?
Why don't you like the ADL?
Because they pretend to be fighting anti-Semitism when really they're just mad. They're fighting anti-Zionism.
So
And also
maybe
John
we should look
Greenblatt,
into
who
your
literally said
issues.
that he was complaining about Jews marrying outside of their faith. It's very weird.
You gonna continue the video? Sorry, I'm not allowed to say press play
Sorry, you
anymore.
wanted to defend the ADL? Go ahead. I'm giving
No,
you
I was
space
just
to do
I
that.
was asking you a question. I think that people have biases. People have different issues. You might have an issue. I have an issue.
With what?
You just different people have different kinds of things.
What issue do I have because I have criticisms of the ADL and I'm not a fan of them?
I'm just saying you have a bias. Everyone.
Did
has
you
a
like when
bias.
the ADL defended Elon Musk when he did a Nazi salute?
No, I thought
You know,
that was
I
pretty
know that
lame.
you thought that he did a Nazi salute, but they were like,
They said it was an
tomato,
unfortunate.
tomato.
It was an unfortunate gesture.
Yeah, they said he was like autistic or something. You know,
The ADL called Elon autistic.
they said that could explain
Uh-huh.
like why he did it or something. He's on the spectrum.
Yeah.
You know, I know some people on the spectrum. They're not Nazis. They don't have an issue with just doing that, Sieg Heil randomly. That's, but maybe the ADL knows
My
people on the
heart
spectrum
goes
that I
out
don't.
to you. Do you think they would have said that if Elon had said "Hail Trump, Hail Victory"? Do you think that they would have said that?
I have no idea.
If he literally said "Hail Trump, Hail Victory"?
I don't know. I mean, it was already, to me, it was unambiguously a Nazi salute, and they couldn't just condemn it. So I wouldn't be surprised if even that still, they'd still be couched in their criticisms.
Press play.
Single 80-20 issue. They are on the wrong side. How can you be against cracking down on crime? Are you an idiot?
Well, should we play devil's advocate?
I want to play devil's advocate. You want to do it?
No, you go first. I have one too. I want to hear what you.
Well, okay, because I just litigated it actually on Abby Phillips, and the argument is that he's going to federalize all cities.
But he doesn't have the power.
I know, but
he doesn't even have the power in DC.
he doesn't. But he did say, let's be fair,
For 30 days, to be fair.
he went on to say he did. If I need to, I will declare a state of national emergency. And I was like, I don't. Is that no? There's no way he could get beyond those 30 days. But he did imply.
All right. Well, let me
find a
address
way.
the national emergency.
He said he would do it without them by declaring a national.
Well,
Okay.
I got to address the national emergency point.
Go,
because
please,
he used the
I couldn't
same exact
figure-
argument for tariffs, and let's
Right.
see how that's panning out. It's right now. It's being tied up in the courts, actively litigated. He may even have to return the tariff payments. That's what it's coming down to. So his threat of national emergency. By the way, I'm absolutely in favor of his actions.
Pause.
but honestly,
I'm not so
looking at the
sure how
facts
that
and the-
litigation will turn out. I think that he doesn't have the legal justification to do it, but the tariffs have already had an effect, and so
There's no reversing the effect, even
yeah.
if he does pay back the money or whatever.
Even if they pay back the money or whatever, right? Like the mere fact that this would have to be litigated in court, it already sets a signaling effect. And the same thing, by the way, in terms of what's the phrase is anticipatory compliance. Just because some of his efforts in the long run will fail in court, or they won't have like the right legal outcome that supposedly Trump wants, the mere fact that he is able to set that as a staging ground, as like a kind of like baseline, motivates and disincentivizes real people in the real world, because they're scared of that being upheld, and they're scared of Trump. And so regardless of whether or not he's legally able to do it, the fact that he's trying has an effect. And I think the tariff is a perfect example of that.
legalese, he may not have the power to do that. So he's blowing smoke, as he often does. But
there are
use that.
There are other avenues. So, for instance, the BLM protests and the riots as well happened at first under his first term, and he wanted to declare martial law in order to essentially get a handle on the protests and basically stomp them out. But he had people in his administration at that time who pushed back against him and said, if you declare martial law, we're all going to quit. And so he backed off and he decided not to do it. With his second term, he's really surrounded himself with people who go along with whatever he wants to do.
they're also much more effective this time.
Sure, but I mean, if he wanted
Why grant that?
Why
would
grant
you
it at
ever
all?
grant
Yeah.
that?
to do something as extreme, in my opinion, as declaring martial law to federalize police all across the country, that is, in my opinion, a legitimate concern. But at the same time, again, I want those who are worried about this, and I am worried about that, to consider the fact that if you ignore a problem, well, then you're going to create a groundswell of support for more authoritarian measures, and that's what's happened. Look at the polling.
Can we talk about this? Because
We can still always blame the left for the things
Yeah.
that Trump does, because
crime nationwide is on a decline, and it was under Biden. After the spike from COVID, it's on the decline. And so there will never be a situation in which conservatives won't be pushing tough on crime. Left is soft on crime. That will always be their line. And so you can't just, you have to have that as a prior, and to pretend as though, yeah, we should definitely feed into their fear mongering on some issues. Now, listen, on some stuff, I don't think that the left needs to be like, we need to completely defund the police. We need to get rid of all
I do.
prisons.
Hell yeah.
You want to get rid of police
Yep.
and prisons?
I want to rethink policing. I am a prison abolitionist, though.
What does that mean?
We shouldn't have prisons.
Why not?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
just
You're
wanna
not
change the
actually
name of it?
interested in this.
I am interested in it, actually.
No.
What do you mean I'm not interested in it? You're a prison abolitionist? You don't think people who
Yes.
do crime should be put away?
That's what I said.
Can you
Yep.
explain that? What
Yeah,
about murderers?
awesome interpretation. I already said no, I can't explain it
Why
because we're not
not?
getting into this.
Can you just give 2 sentences on it?
No, it always leads to more questions. No.
I'll
This is literally a multi-hour conversation.
I'll give you 2 sentences and I won't ask anything else.
I'm asking for 0 sentences from you. I don't want to talk about it right now.
Okay, so you're a prison abolitionist. But anyway, I just don't think that if you can grant that crime is a problem for sure, but there will always be an excuse from the right to have to do these like radical things. You just need to stand up against the radical response and the authoritarianism, regardless of like how much you think being against crime is inherently
I
good.
don't think that they really push back against the crime narrative. Like, Democrats are constantly on the defense surrounding all of these talking points. But one, red states drive homicide rates in the United States. You can look it up. Look at CDC and FBI data. It will all corroborate this claim that where you actually see states that are like driven by violent crime, they are overwhelmingly Republican and like Republican-led or red states. Okay.
What about Ted Bundy? I mean, Ted Bundy was a really unapologetic murderer. He needs to go to prison. Like, what you're gonna
look at an anecdote? Oh wait, what do we go? How does that relate to what I said?
Well, because I don't think that Ted Bundy should be free, and so if you want to get rid of prisons, I guess Ted Bundy needs to be free.
We already agreed we're not talking about this.
Well, you agreed about that, but I just want to know 2 sentences about what you think.
So you just don't care about women's boundaries, even if it's
not
your
about
co-host.
women's
Okay.
boundaries. It's just
I'm a woman. It's my boundary, and you're trying to violate it right now. And I find it very disrespectful, frankly.
Hey! I just want to say I'm in favor of prisons.
Liberals surrender hands. Yeah. Do you think that like prisons are doing a good job of like catching the majority of like rapists?
Prisons don't catch people. Police
world?
do. We're talking about prisons.
Okay. We also talked
we're
about
not
police.
talking about prisons.
We also talked about police.
Yeah, I think police are great. I mean, they need more money.
Okay.
Most Americans are actually in favor of what
Yes,
he's doing.
yes,
What? It's coming to a city near you in Los Angeles. It's like, God, I hope so.
You guys, are you aware that
Portland? My gosh.
Democrats are currently -25 on crime? You know where Trump is? +1. Harry Enton, of all people, said this on CNN. So honestly, the American people are behind this guy.
Yeah, I mean, and it's great. I've heard.
I'm just going to say a chatter of mine pointed out that you literally did the thing that people always bring up in response to hearing that somebody is a prison abolitionist, which you go to the most extreme types of crimes. And Ted Bundy. Oh, so where's Ted Bundy gonna go? That's like textbook. It's the same as like when I've told people that I'm vegan, they start saying lions though. How like lions eat other animals? Why can't we do it? Or plants have feelings, like stupid shit like this.
You're saying it's a tier 1 argument. What about Ted Bundy, bro?
Yes, it is. You have no idea how much it is.
But what about Ted Bundy though?
No, we're not getting into it. That's my boundary. Quit disrespecting it.
So many stories of people
you brought
saying
it back
they
up
actually
again.
were safe to leave their house for the first.
You said it was a tier 1
within
argument.
my boundaries. It's not, that's within my boundaries. I'm comfortable bringing that up, but
my
nothing more.
boundary is you can't have that boundary. So what do we do with that?
Kink shaming is my kink.
First time after years and years of being there. I'm on board with it. Let me just make my position absolutely clear. However, to play devil's advocate, because I always like to feel out both sides of the argument, is the precedent that it could then send when Trump is a president. See, I trust Donald Trump. I may not trust the person who is next in power. And if this type of precedent is set,
I'm gonna say I think this is a good thing that Amy's saying here. Now, I think it's stupid to say you trust Trump. I think that's obviously dumb. But if you do trust Trump, it is a kind of who do you trust from an institutional perspective, from a question of institutional competency with this kind of power. So a lot of my arguments about why Biden should do this or shouldn't do that, or why Trump should do this or shouldn't do that, they're definitely bolstered by the fact that Trump is a crazy person, but they're not exclusive to it. Like, I don't trust the presidency as an office to be in charge of running elections across the country.
This isn't really good pushback from her because she's playing devil's advocate. So that to me suggests that she doesn't actually find that criticism
this is a good
to be
point.
valid.
I think the institutional competency point is a point that matters a lot, and is one that is very salient to me. Is that we should not trust the office of presidency with the amount of like one person to decide all these different areas and have like not just the decisional authority, but with respect to a lot of these decisions, having the unquestioned.
There's a word for that.
Unquestioned
K,
authority. Yeah.
Ends with ing.
Yeah. Well, wait, what? K.
You're saying one person to decide all of this.
King.
And
Sorry,
it's like
sorry.
I'm saying a king.
My bad. Yeah. So, yeah, and especially when the courts are often inclined to say that Trump has not just the authority to do this, but preclusive and conclusive authority, which we'll get into the debate tonight with Ryan Mullally on the immunity decision. That, to me, is very dangerous from an institutional competency perspective, and it extends beyond just Trump. It's to the whole system of government.
Be employed, for example,
so I think it's a good point.
If there is a protest, a legitimate protest, and they don't like the dissenting voices.
That's exactly right.
It could be weaponized against us.
It is a good point, but I'm not crediting it to her because she's just engaging in devil's advocate. She doesn't find the point to be valid.
You don't think she's being serious right there? She's like, I'm afraid.
She literally said, "Let me make my personal position on this clear. Now I want to hear both sides, so I'll play devil's advocate." And she's steel manning the opposition's counter arguments to this.
Okay.
She literally is saying that this is not her argument.
Okay.
If we're the ones to leverage this call initially, and so that.
I mean, you could say it's useful, regardless of what her motivation is for bringing it up. That the audience be
I'm
exposed
glad she's
to the
bringing
other
it up.
side.
Yeah,
but-
I'm glad she's bringing it up.
In my mind, when I've heard people talk about what they're most worried about, that to me is the most legitimate of them all.
And if you're cracking down on street crime, to your point, you're dealing with the symptom, but is there, like, what happens when the federalized police, right, are no longer on the ground fighting street crime, right? Have you dealt with the potential crime rings that are doing the grooming, getting these teenagers to engage in this criminality, knowing that teenagers aren't going to suffer?
Doing the grooming. She's like, she didn't just kind of affirm that Amy's stupid fucking conspiracy shit. She's like, what happens to them? Now she's like playing into it.
It's also the language of sexual exploitation being extended to like all crime now. Like, I don't know that I'm super comfortable.
Yeah, any form of like coercion, pressure, any tactic that's used to like to like I don't know, like it's all being collapsed into like it's a type of grooming.
It's
like
the,
you're saying.
It's the patent Democrats is like degenerates. It's not just that they have this view on crime or they have this view on policing.
Perverts.
They're perverts. So hearing the language of
like there's some sort of like sexual fetishism involved in like including minors or juveniles in like into crime or whatever.
That's why this is happening. I'm actually just speaking with Chris Moritz about this, who wrote a book called Failed State about California. And these child soldiers are being recruited to even commit assassinations because they don't have any.
Yeah, why is no one talking about honor killings in the United States?
Type of consequence. There's no more juvenile hall. And two other things I want to throw out to you guys. Apparently, the police chief, Pamela Smith, said that she needs the help.
Exactly.
Wants the help.
Yes.
She plans to work with federal officials to drive down crime. And even the mayor said that she wanted to see how she could make the most out of the additional officer support. So that was very interesting to me. Guys, what do you think about that? And what do you think we need to be looking at long term? And then I want everyone to weigh in on this with final thoughts.
Yeah, so we should go back to what was the reason why the Home Rule Act was actually instated. Because originally, DC used to be under federal control. And then they said, hey, now we're actually going to allow DC to self-govern and have a mayor and have its own local police force. So originally the idea is we need to give this area more sovereignty, and there were Black communities in there, and they said, hey, there's basically segregationists in Congress who were calling the shots in DC, and they said that's unfair. Wow. So there was an incentive mismatch that they tried to correct for, but unfortunately, the correction has actually created more crime. So in the long term, what actually needs to happen is we need to figure out, okay, why is there so much poverty in DC? First of all, like this is an area that has some of the richest zip codes in America because a lot of our US politicians live in the outskirts, and some of the poorest as well. So why is there so much crime? Why is it that...
That's an answer to his question. He just doesn't realize it.
He's actually thinking most like a leftist on the panel. In the way that you suggested.
Well, he said that these policies are like causing crime. He was suggesting that like the leftists running DC
but even
were,
the
like,
inclination to
crime.
actually look, I disagree with that. That's stupid. But even the inclination to just discuss and think about critically like the root
cause or the underlying causes of crime. But unfortunately, we'll go nowhere because if the ultimate solution that you favor is just let's let Trump fucking mobilize the National Guard or you play defense for it anyway. To me, it's not a serious inquisition into what the root causes are.
Person doesn't have the resources that they need in the first place.
That's the part that I found so alarming.
Yeah, so there's something going on in the governance of DC that's not right, and that needs to be examined first, or not first because this is happening first, but second, after we address the immediate issue, which is this crime happening. But yeah, clearly DC's experiments of having this kind of hybrid local federal governance is not working. It's just not working. So I actually think Trump is well within his rights to take control. He can only do it for 30 days. I think, unfortunately, by the way.
But I don't disagree.
Yeah, he can only invoke this part of the Home Rule Act for 30 days, and then they have to actually figure out a long-term solution. But to the point about what if he does this in all cities? I actually think it's good. I think it's good that he even makes the threat, honestly.
Yeah,
because these other mayors in these cities that are Democrat run.
Surely you'd be praising Joe Biden if he threatened to do this in all cities.
I threatened to federalize the police in a red state. I'm sure that would go great. And recall, by the way, these are the same people who said that Texas has complete sovereignty to enforce federal immigration law, even though there's reasons why they're not empowered to do that based on
run elections now, apparently.
So like just be clear here. It's always state sovereignty. It's always states' rights when it suits Republicans, and it's federal authority and unitary control when it doesn't.
Cities, they're not going to do anything if their position is not threatened. And often what happens with Trump is it's kind of like there's a shock and awe where he draws massive attention to an issue. Like even with tariffs, it's like, yes, other countries have been tariffing us at a higher rate than we've been tariffing them for decades. No one even thought about it before Trump mentioned it.
It's like, it's so cute to think about you, Hutch, Josiah, Econovoy, and the Vanguard sparring over whether it's a good idea to even threaten to investigate Joe Manchin's daughter when you've got Republicans and the right in this country being I support him just being a fucking thug and threatening
all these people and
all these Democrat-run cities because it'll light a fire under their ass to do something.
Yeah, but that
completely uncontroversial.
This is an example though of when I don't think it's good to fight fire with fire. So in general, I'm in favor of fighting fire with fire. I am with gerrymandering, but threatening with the DOJ stuff, that is a line I don't cross. Even though there is no norm anymore because he has destroyed the norm, it's such an important norm, I think, that we need to build it back, unfortunately.
I mean, you have that even with the Dugan thing because you don't like that her defense team is citing the immunity ruling, right?
Yep, exactly.
We have our cities in decay. No one thinks they can even do anything until Trump says, I'm going to do this thing if you don't get it in hand. So, yeah, I think it's important. I don't know if him just trying to incentivize action or he's serious about taking the
It's they're trying to present Trump is doing something novel when you see this with authoritarian governments.
Yeah.
Across history and globally currently. This is not some new thing where, the president of a country tries to consolidate power by overstating the extent to which there's a national emergency or manufacturing them outright in certain cases, and then using that as the pretext to justify all of these power grabs. That's nothing new. That's nothing novel. And you're just helping him do his dirty work by pretending this is about crime. This is about his stated reason for all of this, when it's nothing more than just his attempt to consolidate power and do whatever he wants.
Yeah, it's Project
act with impunity.
And I think it dovetails as well with this encroaching federal control over elections. He wants to have to normalize essentially federal control over the people with the guns, the people who count the ballots. And it's not surprising why he wants that. He wants that threat there. He wants that looming threat there. And he also, imagine now if there were going to be a January 6th style event in the current age. They're prepping for potential shenanigans down the line, and they're leaving themselves open to it. Now, I think that they're acting a little bit too slow, but it's still a major, major threat.
action, but you need to be a bully sometimes. And I'm glad he's bullying for the benefit of the American people.
Yes. I want to disagree. I wish I could find a way to disagree because I know the argument. It's he's authoritarianism, but I admit, it's please, God, to go to a city near me.
Be authoritarian. She's open.
There are some people that these ideas, historically they have been appealing to some people, right?
Yeah.
It's not really that surprising that to the MAGA cohorts or Trump voters and supporters that these ideas would still be appealing in their own country. They just obviously have deluded themselves into thinking it's going to play out differently because I like this guy and he really cares.
By the way, you are a man after my own heart. Completely agree with everything you just said. I also just want to end with this. I do want to give the mayor credit for not indulging in allegations of racism. She's like, no. Like, if someone tried to bait her on MSNBC and she just didn't take the bait.
Yep.
One thing I want to make clear:
this is literally like an Asmongold tier take. Hold on.
Asmongold. What's he up to these days?
He literally said this in response to the clip that she's talking about. Like, good on her for not taking the race baits. Hold on.
Well, do you agree with that, or do you disagree with the Democratic mayor?
Here, I have to watch the clip again before I fucking say what I think.
Yeah.
Because I watched this a few days ago.
Let's have a look-see here.
National Guard could come later on today.
Yes.
DC's
Yes. God, I hate his fucking face. Sorry. Is that not PC?
mayor says the city's crime rate is down 20%, though, compared to last year, and she's concerned that the Guard may not be used efficiently, but she acknowledges the president has the power to deploy them.
While it is always the president's prerogative to use federal law enforcement or the National Guard, even, I've talked on your show before that the DC National Guard is the president's National Guard.
Right.
So that's always his prerogative. And federal law enforcement is always on the street in DC, and we always work cooperatively with them.
The president
Let me watch that full clip, because that was one of the ones that I found. Let's listen to the whole thing.
His face pisses me off. I'm sorry.
We have seen over and over.
Not PC, Pisco. What are you doing?
His face really pisses me off.
You must say he's beautiful. You must say he's very intelligent. You must say the 1.1 million people that watch this bullshit.
People don't like my eyebrows. People don't like my face, and so I'm just saying I don't like his face.
And what do you say to those people that talk shit about your eyebrows?
I say you're just jealous. You want these.
You're jealous of these fucking brows.
You want these brows.
from the president, from his team. Stephen Miller.
He's got
saying it's
resting
like
gamer
Baghdad in
face.
Ethiopia. They seem to
He is a
hold
mouthful
one
there
of the
for
things
sure.
that we have seen over and over from the president, from his team. Stephen Miller saying it's like Baghdad in Ethiopia. They seem to hold their harshest criticism sometimes for cities that are majority Black and brown.
Correct.
Nobody gives a fuck about this. Nobody gives a fuck about this rhetoric anymore. Nobody cares about this obvious race baiting. Nobody gives a shit, period.
So again, Stephen Miller saying that there are some areas of the country that are comparable to like fucking Ethiopia, that's not race baiting. This man correctly identifying that that's a highly racialized comment to make. That's you race baiting.
But yeah, no, I think that it's totally race neutral to say these places are like Nigeria and whatever he said.
Shithole countries in our country.
And also, by the way, wouldn't that be a good thing? If they're saying these cities need a bunch of help because they're overrun by these problems, and these are majority minority areas, wouldn't that be helping those people? Shouldn't you be saying thank you?
Pause.
What is this? Do you really think that...
Wait, but why would we be in support of particularly helping minority communities? Isn't that DEI itself? So like, I love this, by the way. Whenever there's positive, quote unquote, positive DEI from the Republicans and Trump, they're totally fine with it. Like Trump, I saw this, these people complaining about Kamala Harris had all these like policy platform documents about how we appeal to Black people when Trump had the same exact documents. So this is why Trump is good for Black people. This is what Trump's going to do for Black people. Like both sides do it.
Yeah, when Democrats do it, it's disingenuous, cynical pandering. But when Trump does it, it's genuine concern for
the Black
minorities
community.
and an example of how the Republicans actually aren't racist.
All of the normal law-abiding citizens want to see rust bases built around every 7-Eleven? No.
Do you see that, and what do you think that means?
Just being honest.
I think that I have been dealing kind of with this issue for a number of years. It's kind of easy fodder on a campaign trail. But now we're talking about governing, and my job is to focus on making sure our city is running well, and people enjoy a great quality of
Well,
life.
then why is there, if you're drunk, why are they living on the street? Why are they on the street? Why is there a bunch of crime? Why is there people like fucking robbing shit and like just causing problems? Like what? Because like, yeah, I mean, you're not doing a good job, right? I mean, like, because if you were doing a good job, this wouldn't need to happen.
And I think we're doing a really good job.
What's going on with this?
We do need the federal government's help, as I mentioned, because
he also
they have
has
outsized influence on our...
He has Adam Friended style. Like I'm just detecting Adam Friended style insecurities from him. I don't know what it is that is giving me that impression, but I'm just getting the sense that if he were pushed a little bit on stream on some issue, he would have an Adam Friended level insecurity where he wouldn't be able to actually discuss it or debate it. But I don't know.
I don't watch as much Adam Friended or Such an Adam as you, so
I don't watch a ton of that either. But
impression.
I get that impression that he's like a little bit of a.
I don't know how thin-skinned Adam Friended is or is not. Okay, but I do know that this motherfucker is very, very thin-skinned.
Are you like scared of criticizing Adam and Stitch? What are you doing? Oh, you're doing what I do. You're doing what I do. You're doing what I do.
I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Criminal justice system. We need more prosecutors. We need more judges. There are other ways to help. Even we want to rebuild our jail, and there are ways that the feds can help with that. But also just doing their part, cutting the grass, fixing the fountains, making sure that federal law enforcement is doing all of the policing that they can do. And I just have to say thank you.
I'm
to
gonna do a Asmund style react one day.
Who always
this kind of good.
Just get a million viewers
with us, and
it's actually crazy that like she didn't even go into this race baiting bullshit that like this guy.
You know what's funny is that I've watched Kamala Harris literally respond verbatim to these sorts of racial attacks when it came from Trump. Like in her interview with Dana Bash, where Dana was like, he said that you're like a DEI candidate, or he said that you're not actually black, or something like that. She was like, "Oh, the same old attacks." Like, next question. No, like, where were these people then? They still literally said she did a DEI campaign. She cared about only like trans, they, them, lesbians in prison, getting them fucking gender affirming surgery. So there's you don't really get credit for it.
I have so much like pent up appreciation for Kamala Harris and how she ran the campaign in many ways. I understand she made mistakes. I understand we don't agree with everything, but like she stood up, and she actually, I think, saved the Senate in many ways. She saved our House losses, and she did an honorable job. I really appreciate Kamala Harris.
Viewer question. So Pisco is going to start saying the N-word Asmund style.
Whoa! Did Asmund ever say the big one? Was it tactical?
I don't know.
Was it a tactical N-word? Remember that?
I never forgot that.
The tactical N-word?
When's the last time you used a tactical N-word?
Never do.
Oh, it's unfortunate. Has there the situation hasn't presented itself or what?
It's actually impossible because I can't even think the word. I can't even conceptualize the word in my head because I'm so not racist.
You're that anti-racist.
That I don't even know what. I only know the N-word. I don't actually know what
You're
the word
so
sounds
anti-racist.
like.
You don't even know what racism
Sometimes
is.
I'm concerned I might accidentally say it, but I don't have a conception of what the word sounds like. So it would be impossible for me to accidentally.
You want me to help you out with that?
No, actually.
I thought you'd seen The Wire.
I censor it. I use a censor version, TV version.
How could you know to censor something you didn't know existed?
Well, I don't want to accidentally. I thought that it's possible they would say it, and so
Why did you think that of The Wire? Because there's black people in it?
Well, there's a class.
Isn't that a bit of a racist assumption on your part to think that a show or a program that includes black people would necessarily include that word?
Whoa, that's you saying stuff. I didn't say it. I said I
the
had
word you didn't know anything about.
I had an academic conversation with some people who have an academic sense of The Wire, and
an academic conversation about The Wire.
Yeah, there are actually classes that are about The Wire. Did you know that? Did you take
them?
I didn't take it personally.
No,
I didn't want to get spoiled, and I didn't want to accidentally listen to a recording where they might say the N-word, and so I don't really.
They might say the word that you don't really know anything about.
Well, I know that there is such a word, but I don't have a conception of the words that make it up.
You are only operating at one speed. When you see racism in everything, people stop listening. When you accuse, for example, when you say that Trump's crackdown on crime is racist, when you say voter ID requirements are racist, that meritocracy is racist,
Taking
that
soda off
strong-
Snap is
yes,
racist.
that-
I mean,
exactly. It's wrong.
Oh, but sorry, I only showed that Asmongold clip to say that them being good job on her not
Good
taking
job.
the bait, the race bait. One, they're trying to pretend, again, her co-host is the one that's doing that by just confronting racism as it's being presented to him by this administration. But yeah, it's incumbent upon you to bury your head in the sand and be diplomatic and in the face of obviously the institution of policies that are clearly racially charged to pretend as though that's not happening. Just bury your head in the sand, and then you'll get praise from these people.
Supporters are racist. That putting Americans first is racist. You're the boy who cried wolf. We're gonna tune you out.
More importantly, I mean, look at polling of Black Americans and how they feel about crime. And
what's funny about people using the anecdote of the boy who cried, or the metaphor of the boy who cried wolf, it's eventually he's crying because the wolf actually does come and get them.
The wolf
right?
comes. The wolf does come.
He does eventually come.
Policing, because I think that there's a small group of activists that have essentially taken it upon themselves to speak on behalf of Black Americans. But when you look at the polling, Black Americans are worried about crime. They don't want to cut the police force. They want more active policing to deal with it. Because guess what? You make a really good point about how there's this economic inequality. And that's the through line in a lot of these big cities. There's a lot of...
To me, this is where they get I think this argument is so disingenuous. There's just wholesale democratic appeal to what voters or constituents want. When in reality, to me, those things are what they really want is there to be a reduction in crime, right? And so people understand that, increased policing presence or tougher on crime type policies, fucking stop and frisk potentially, broken windows policing. These are things that I've been told necessarily lower crime. Therefore, they're in support of them. But since when do we want policy to be set and determined solely by the electorate? At what point do we introduce expertise and data and research to find the most effective policies? And I feel like Anna is not willing to go out on a limb and say, even though a lot of people support this policy, but that's not actually going to address what they want it to.
And it's talking out of both sides of their mouth as well. Yeah, I think that connection between the policy and the outcome is super important. And what people want is the optics of being tough on crime without showing that nexus. So yeah, I think that's a great point. But they're talking out of both sides of their mouth because do you remember when Joe Biden, he championed the crime bill, right? Whatever the crime bill was.
Yeah, he did.
And
it massively expanded. It led to mass incarceration in the United States.
And these are the same people here. I mean, Anna, these types who are criticizing Biden and Democrats for doing 3 strikes laws, for doing this kind of mandatory minimum stuff.
Mandatory minimums, yeah.
Yeah.
So did Bernie before somebody brings it up. Did you know Bernie also? Yeah, I know Bernie fucking supported it. Okay, It was bad when he did it as well.
And that to them, there's a reason why they are against that. Principally, they're against that because it's inequitable and because it didn't really do the outcomes that people wanted. So that nexus, but notwithstanding that, they were criticizing the Democrats who were, quote, tough on crime in that respect. Another example of this, I think, is Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, I think, made a lot of things worse. I think that Bill Clinton was a failed president in many respects, and his legislative achievements are horrible, in my opinion, or at least a lot of them are. And one area of this is immigration law, where he passed a supposedly tough on immigration law in IRA, which I think has made our situation much, much, much worse. Incentivizing people to overstay their visas by having these mandatory inadmissibility caps that apply, and by criminalizing certain aspects of immigration law. So, and when they did that, they got no love from populists, leftists like Anna Kasparian.
It's like, didn't she already say in this episode, like, oh, they're maybe I don't know, like she's talked before about how there needs to be more housing, right? But when you look at constituents that are the most vocal and the loudest, constituents are largely fucking NIMBYs.
Yeah.
Constituents do not want the construction of these things that are necessary for their city to improve as far as urban planning goes, as far as helping alleviate poverty. They're going to have to do things that are in some way undemocratic, or they're going to have to do more work to educate voters that if you want this outcome, it is incompatible with your desire for there to be these sorts of NIMBY policies.
That's why I'm glad.
And so, like, there's an instance where, again, we're not just solely deferring to voters to make the best, most informed decision when it comes to evidence-based policy. We also have to factor in, well, what do experts say? What do other countries do? And is it what people like, is it successful in those instances? It's just like this uncritical deference to any vote or any voting demographic is always silly to me when you're coming up with policy.
NIMBYism is a disease. It is a disease, absolutely a disease. And I'm glad. I talk a lot of shit about Hochul and New York politicians, but they're building now, or they've announced that they're going to finally build this expansion of the subway on 2nd Ave. And they're going to have to eminent domain at least like 36 different properties or something like that. But good. And I think a lot of the, at least people who are being interviewed about it and asked about it, some people who are actually going to lose their properties were like, even though I'm going to lose this, I recognize that this is in the best interest. Not everyone is like that. And I think NIMBYism is a disease, but this is a long time coming for people on the Upper East Side. And so I think that we need to reconcile some of these contradictions, because NIMBYism is a contradiction with a lot of what supposedly is wrong with the Democratic Party. Like, think about the California Rail Project, which people like Anna Kasparian are pointing to as like a testament of the failure of California Democrats. A lot of that is undermined by impulses of the electorate, like NIMBYism.
And I'm also not going to pretend like, people's impulses surrounding these things aren't influenced by an entire media architecture and money that goes into influencing people or informing them or propagandizing them into certain talking points, depending on what the issue is. But in the case of NIMBYs, a lot of it just has to do with personal interest and the fact that these people who hold property, who have stakes in real estate, just simply do not want to see their bottom line any lower, like lower than it has to be. And so it's in their immediate self-interest, even if it's not in their long-term self-interest, to prioritize their property values over the good of the community, or what would be best for alleviating these things that they complain about, because they say that they don't want there to be homelessness or these encampments, but they're not willing to actually champion the solutions that would actually help bring relief to these issues,
which is like more public housing, more
right. They're championing the very policies that exacerbate these inequalities in society.
Yeah.
So
to lower housing prices. Okay, you pause real quick. Sorry. But also, so Erin is a communist, but we're not here to talk about it. But she does consider herself a commie.
I do.
Perpetuates poverty is crime, right? So opportunities are ripped away from people when they don't feel safe in their own neighborhoods. And so I just think that it's really, really important to consider, yes, the socioeconomic factors that play into this, but more importantly, what people actually think about crime and policing based on the polling, what they want to be done about it. Don't let activists basically hijack the narrative and speak on behalf of everyone, because they're usually pushing a specific agenda that might not even jive with people that live in these communities. And consider what these crime incidents do to young people who, again, will have opportunities snatched away from them if they don't feel safe if there's like someone selling drugs on the corner of their neighborhood or their street. Like these are things that harm people and stop them or hinder the progress in their lives.
In fact, the people who are most targeted by crimes are the people in these Black neighborhoods who can't get out.
Right.
They're being terrorized by a small, tiny group of people, and their futures are being hijacked by these crimes.
That small, tiny group of people is what's leading to systemic inequality between Black Americans and non-Black Americans. What are we talking about? If it were that simple, why wouldn't we have solved inequality between racial demographics in the United States if it's just a matter of getting rid of a tiny group of people?
Rid of neighborhoods.
I mean, like, yeah, there is a tiny group of people that does have a disproportionate amount of fucking influence. The billionaire class, and these people will never champion any policies that actually try to tax them, make them pay their fair share.
You can never see a way out and a way up. So honestly, we should not, other demographics are able to move elsewhere, but people who are impoverished have to stay where they are. So we got to do everything we can to make sure we provide a safe environment.
You give me a good transition. I actually want to jump into what's going on with the homeless tents, and then we're going to get to the tunnels. So the crackdown is not just on criminals. Following the federal intervention, a sweeping operation was launched to clear homeless encampments across the Capitol, particularly in the high-profile areas of Foggy Bottom, Kennedy Center, East Street Expressway, and near the U.S. Institute of Peace. But prior to these operations, 70 encampments have already been removed since March 2025?
Yes. So let me kind of set the stage for this story because
Excited for Anna Kasparian to lead a conversation
No,
about
I'm not.
addressing
Wait,
homelessness.
can we get to when she's defending herself? Do you have the timestamp of when she's defending herself on CNN?
No, but it probably would be around here because they're talking about the Smithsonian exhibit, and I think it's going to come up.
I
then.
have an out in about 9 minutes, so I just want to see if we can get to that.
We have like no time for today's episode, even though this episode is like fucking gonna be a banger. Again, if Anna's gonna talk about homelessness, then Jillian's gonna talk about her fucking slave take.
I still have to do a little bit of prep for the debate tonight, and I have to do something. I have to eat as well.
Well, then I won't finish this after you leave. I'm gonna the next episode we're finishing this one.
Yeah, 100%. We can do something on Friday.
Well, then I don't want to skip around.
Okay, cool. First slide.
I'll just start this one.
Trump's efforts in federalizing police in D.C. goes beyond crime. He's also focusing on clearing out homeless encampments.
He has to prepare for dinner. Is this true? Is that what you're preparing for?
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
You were like, oh yeah, like who prepares
You said
for
that.
dinner?
You were the one who said that you need to prepare for dinner.
I know there was a dinner I was going to. You need to prepare for. You need to like get ready.
What does that mean?
What do you
What does that mean?
You know exactly what it means. You know what it means.
If you're ready for stream, you should be ready for dinner.
Does not follow. That does not follow whatsoever.
So you stream when you're unwashed sometimes.
No, you have to change, and sometimes I don't have to explain this to you at all. You're not the
I think I just clocked you correctly, and you don't want to have to admit that sometimes you ain't, you're kind of smelling ripe when you're sitting down and hitting start streaming. You're like, fuck it, no one can smell me through the screen, so whatever. It doesn't matter that I'm on like day 5 of not showering.
That is not true, though. It reminds me, never mind. Anyway, it's not true at all. Sometimes you need to prepare for a dinner, like
you have to do the full body douche. I forgot about this.
A full body? No, it's called a full. Wait, it's called a everything shower.
The everything shower. You have to do the everything shower for dinner. What are you doing at these dinners?
It's a nice dinner. It's with a dinner with lawyers.
Are you doing that thing where like sometimes people will like eat sushi off of a woman? Is that why you have to do like the full body, the everything shower? They're gonna like use you as like the plate.
I'm doing these like Squid Game type.
Oh, I'm asking because you're saying that you have to do the everything shower to go to dinner with your friends.
Why would I need to have an everything shower to eat sushi off some woman's body?
No. You're gonna be like the human plate.
Well, that's not what I said. Is I'm going to dinner, not that I'm going to be the human plate. That
Well, I was just asking if that was in the cards because I don't know why you'd need to take. Why are you doing the everything shower?
You know
then?
what? You make no sense, and you know what? This is over. I'm done. I'm leaving. You've pissed me off.
No, we're doing a little bit of this. Come on.
I have 5 minutes and I have to go.
And so
why do you have to prep for this debate? You told me once that you could debate Nick Fuentes blind, no prep, but you need to prep for fucking what's his name?
No, I don't need to prep. I don't need to. I just have a little bit of prep, but I also need to do other things. I need to do other things to get ready.
Doge staffer Edward Kornstein, who of course also goes by Big Balls, was assaulted. He announced this plan. Trump announced this plan, and some interesting things have happened in D.C. ever since. So, for instance, according to the Associated Press, Trump wrote on his social media site before Monday's news conference announcing the takeover that homeless people will have to leave immediately. Quote, "We will give you places to stay, but far from the Capitol," he posted. And so after he made that announcement, obviously very vague, people are like, you're going to give them places to stay. What does that mean? Where are they going to go? You say far away. And so reporters.
Literally, that they're just going to break up the homeless encampments and kick the can down the road.
What do you think about, so Kyle Kulinski called this a plan of ethnic cleansing. They're doing it in Gaza, now they're going to do it in D.C. with black people. You think that's a little bit much, or do you agree?
last time I checked, being homeless is not an ethnicity, so I
Okay.
do think that he's being a little spicy there, but I love
Yeah.
the enthusiasm.
Okay.
Asked White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt about it. Let's see what she had to say.
I heard somebody on Tim Pool who was actually being critical of Israel make a silly point at the end by saying that that Cuomo did a genocide in New York City by targeting and killing all the elderly people in the
you don't know the genocide?
Apparently, no, I don't.
So
I
that
don't.
cheapens the word genocide.
I didn't say that it cheapens it. I said it's not accurate.
Okay.
I'm saying it's not accurate. So you think that Cuomo he did a genocide? You
Yeah,
think
of
Cuomo's a
course.
genocidaire?
Yeah, he did genocide.
Okay. Biden?
Yeah.
Which one of these answers is the meme answer? Now be serious.
Guys, can we just move on? We don't need to talk about this word. Who needs this word?
You are such a lawyer. You are such a fucking lawyer, man. I wonder if it, even though you're not, this is your job now, no longer a fucking lawyer.
Well,
if that's ever going to be.
I am a lawyer still, and I might take on a
Not a-
couple cases, and I'm thinking
Okay.
about it. Yeah.
Oh,
Great
no,
job,
I'm
Herta.
on team.
There we go.
Always some
or mental
fucking
health services,
problem.
and if they refuse, they will be susceptible to fines or to jail time. Again, these are pre-existing laws that are already on the books. They have not been enforced, which is part of the reason for this federalizing of the National Guard to bring in this assistance for law enforcement. While we are targeting criminals and trying
Can
to
you
remove
pause real
criminals out of
quick?
the streets, we also want to make
You don't
DC
need to
safe and beautiful, and that
federalize the National Guard in D.C. The D.C. National Guard is already under the president's control.
Yeah, because the District of Columbia is not like a.
Yeah. So you just need to mobilize them. They're mobilizing the National Guard. One of the reasons why there's probably very little legal challenge that would be successful in terms of what Trump has done so far as of yet. Maybe there's something I haven't thought about. But yeah.
It involves removing mentally disturbed individuals in homeless encampments as well.
So the big concern is, are you criminalizing people living in poverty? Like, what's going on here?
Yes.
And the reality is, okay, so let me just read that graphic, because according to the Associated Press, near the Institute of Peace on Thursday morning, AP journalists saw about a dozen homeless DC residents packing their belongings. Items weren't being forcibly thrown out by law enforcement, but an earth mover dug out and scooped away the remains of encampments, depositing them into the bed of an idling truck. And prior to Trump's announcement, I didn't know this, apparently the National Park Service had already cleared out like 70 encampments, but that got no attention, right? Because Trump wasn't involved, so that got no attention. But look, Trump getting involved has had an interesting impact on city leaders, because all of a sudden city leaders are like working overtime to find shelter, to create, a place for these people to live in, rather than just leaving them out on the streets. And the
Leaders are scrambling to deal with the sudden policy imposition that has
So strange.
again, why this let's hold a gun to everyone's head and see what happens is how they think that the most effective solutions are gonna be brought about. Just create a bunch of fear, make a bunch of threats, just start doing shit without consulting anybody, give no warnings, no heads up. Yeah, that's definitely going to end really, really well, Anna.
And will it have long-term benefits, which is what we care about.
question is, why did it take Donald Trump for city leaders to do that? You get what I'm saying? Why was it okay to just allow people?
This is the equivalent of you have a leaky shower or something like that drips a lot, and somebody comes in and completely smashes and destroys your plumbing, and you have this massive leak. And Anna would look at that situation and be like, well, you'd complained about the plumbing and you hadn't gotten around to fixing it, right? So really, this is a blessing in disguise that somebody has completely ruined all of your fucking plumbing, and you have to replace the whole system. Now it's going to force you to think creatively and address it.
There's no
Many
such
of
thing
whom
as
do
a
have
free
mental health
lunch, by
issues.
the way. There is no such thing as a free lunch. So resources that are dedicated to address a emergency response to the federal government, these resources don't come out of nowhere. Now, you can be more efficient and shit, and there are definitely things that Democrat-run cities could be doing better. But just realize there's no free lunch.
Just don't grow on trees.
They need mental health care, many of whom are struggling with addiction. Why was it considered okay to just leave them out on the streets to suffer like that?
That's Schellenberger.
It wasn't, but it's Republicans that stand. I should say that there is actually, unfortunately, a bipartisan component to this, where I don't think either are willing to expend the political capital necessary to really, really address homelessness and poverty. It's not, it's a priority in the sense that like they pay lip service to it. Oh, we're going to do something. But like, again, Democrats don't want to take the risk on the policies that are going to be unpopular, but might actually help solve homelessness. And Republicans at every turn are just like, obstacles to all of this shit. They want institutionalization. They don't want to give these druggies, these criminals, any money or resources.
Yeah.
So neither party is really incentivized, but to the extent that there is one party more willing to cooperate and more willing to hear it out, I do think it's Democrats.
Hey, at least that's a concession. All right, guys, I'm gonna redirect into Aaron's stream. You guys, 8 o'clock is probably when I'm gonna pull up the start up the stream for the debate. The debate's at 8:30. It's Eastern Time, PM tonight. It'll be on the immunity decision. It'll be with Ryan Mullally, so please check it out. I'll put another announcement in the Discord and on Twitter. But until then, give Aaron a follow. Shout out. We'll probably do something this Friday. Aaron, we'll finish this episode. We'll talk about some more stories. We're also going to be adjusting some of the format a little bit to be a little more self-contained so we can release a good product. But it's not going to affect the hours that we're streaming, but they'll just be stay tuned for like announcements and that kind of stuff on that. But yeah, thank you so much. And we'll get you guys to follow Aaron.